Another day with the dawn ringing in my ears. Oh, oh, I tune into my TV show. No better way, I gotta get myself into gear. Let's go. Oh, and I feel good today with my wake up in the morning espresso. I feel good today. It's my feel good breakfast show.
Welcome to your Feel Good Breakfast Show. This is Expresso and you're live in S3. My name is Carl Wasty, joined by two very, very good-looking models, but they are also presenters on this show. You'll see what I mean a little later, but welcome. I'm glad you're comfortable. Grab yourself a cup of coffee and start your day with us. We spend the morning reflecting on something very important, which is relationships, from how to share your life with your partner, like passwords, or maybe DMs, to dealing with online infidelity. I know it may be sensitive, but we have to address this head on to ensure that there's prosperity in your life. That's why we have these conversations. We're not trying to stir, we're trying to create happiness, which is so important. Then we explore the reasons why you broke up and how the deal breakers made you do a double take on your partner as well. So we will be traversing all the red flags you can think about. So if you're in a situation that's in doubt, don't worry, we got you covered here with a panel of experts and your Feel Good Breakfast Show. That's how we're going to do it today, a relationship between us and, of course, you. And don't worry, 068-408-8863 is the number to keep on your phone for anything that you want to drop in as we get onto some social media ideas that we have for you in terms of you interacting with us. And here's one of those models I was talking about. Here's Ewan.
Oh, stop it, you handsome man. You just looks like you stepped off the catwalk, my friend. Good morning, South Africa. Lovely to be with you. It is a fresh Tuesday, and listen, there's nothing that unlocks a conversation like relationships, and we want to turn our attention to social media this morning, and this is what we're asking you this morning. Do you know your partner's passwords and vice versa? Ooh, I can really see this is going to cause a lot of conversation. Do you think there are certain things that your partner doesn't need to know? Also, in what stage or at what stage of the relationship do you share the sensitive information like passwords with your partner? And can it potentially be, I don't know, a deal breaker for you? We'd love to hear your comments. Share your voice notes and your messages on our WhatsApp line 063-408-8863 and include that hashtag Expresso Show. We are gearing up for an epic Tuesday. Stand by for the news up next and let's get into it.
Thanks a lot, Ewan. Let's take a look at your news starting nationally. The chief of the South African National Defence Force, that is General Rudzani Mapwanya, says he's prepared to risk his reputation that nothing was loaded on the Russian ship, the Lady R, in Simonstown in December last year. Now, Mapwanya says the Commission of Inquiry appointed by President Cyril Ramaphosa at the weekend will reveal all the facts of the matter. The Defence Force chief was speaking in Bloemfontein on the anniversary of the United Nations International Day for Peacekeepers. Now, the government says that 254 billion rand Eskom debt relief bill will go a long way in helping the power utility to return to its former glory by supplying enough electricity to the country. The draft bill has been passed in the National Assembly. Its main aim is to provide funding for debt relief for Eskom from the National Revenue Fund. When the bill was passed, Acting Finance Minister Mondli Gugumbele said this would help in alleviating the current energy crises. On to international news. Uganda's progress in tackling HIV is in grave jeopardy after the country's president approved tough new anti-homosexuality legislation. The UN and the US have warned. They said an increasing number of people are being discouraged from seeking vital health services for fear of attacks and punishment. Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni has signed the anti-homosexuality bill into law. It's among the harshest anti-LGBTQ laws in the world. Homosexual acts have been illegal in Uganda for some time, but now anyone convicted faces life imprisonment. A South Korean court has issued an arrest warrant for a passenger who opened an Asiana Airlines plane door minutes before it landed in Daegu, South Korea. The man in his 30s was detained on landing after opening the door when the A321-200 plane was 213 meters above the ground, causing major panic on board. The Daegu District Court issued the warrant for him on charges of violating the Aviation Security Act. The man said he opened the door because he wanted to get off the plane as quickly as possible. And wrapping up on a very, very light note, a teacher from Limpopo says his passion for education and a desire to uplift learners in rural areas prompted him to write a mathematics book. Now, Vahangwele Mkuba, a 36-year-old from Tayandu has published a grade 9 mathematics book in amplified terms to facilitate a better understanding. The book, Skyrocket Mathematics, is recognized by the Department of Education. Kuba says he not only wishes the learners to pass the subject, but also to know and apply it extensively. He said, and I quote, "Skyrocket Mathematics explains maths in the best simple way. It can be used by you and your child at home, but provided you understand English. Whether you didn't pass math in primary school or high school, with this book you can." So this is to promote a black child from the mentality that maths is very difficult. I wish maths to be up there, most especially for black people. An inspiring story about how somebody looks after their community, and what a great way through mathematics. That's it for your news for now. Another update in 1 hour, but there are a lot of sporting actions to look out for. And of course, Graham is standing by with all the details that you need to know.
Thank you so much, my friend. I'll try to build a little enthusiasm for this one. Let's start with footy news. Chelsea have appointed former Tottenham and Paris Saint-Germain boss Mauricio Pochettino as their new manager. So the Argentine begins his new role on the 1st of July this year on a 2-year contract with an option of a further year. Interim boss Frank Lampard took Chelsea to 12th in the Premier League, their lowest finish for more than 25 years. Chelsea say Pochettino was first choice and the only manager who was brought into the club for talks. Now let's turn to cricket, and the Chennai Super Kings. They staged a remarkable chase to beat the Gujarat Titans by 5 wickets and win their IPL for a 5th time. Sai Surasan's 96 had helped put the Titans in a pretty commanding position as they finished their innings on 214 for 4. Then rain led to a lengthy delay before the Super Kings' innings was reduced to just 15 overs, and their new target 171. Well, Devon Conway and Ruturaj Gaikwad put on 74 for the first wicket. Conway top scoring on 47. Ravi Jadeja was the match winner, though, with his team needing 10 off the final 2 balls. He had a 6 and then, of course, a 4 to seal a thrilling win off that last ball of the match. Incredible stuff. Now we turn to rugby news. Off the pitch, and World Cup winning Springbok winger and quite a prime prospect right now, Cheslin Kolbe, has left Toulon 3 months before South Africa begin their defence of their title. So the 29-year-old joined Toulon from top 14 rivals Toulouse back in 21, and he scored 6 tries in 18 matches this season despite an ankle sprain, which sidelined him for a month. He had 1 year left on his contract, but French rugby media have been reporting for a while now that several months have seen various clubs courting him from Japan. And we know that's where the big money is. Then we turn to tennis now. Novak Djokovic launched his quest for a record-breaking 23rd men's Grand Slam singles title with a no-nonsense 6-3, 6-2 and 7-6 first-round victory over debutant Alexander Kovacevic and world number 1 Carlos Alcaraz. He beat Flavio Cobolli 6-love, 6-2 and 7-5, while Denis Shapovalov and Alex de Minaur and Roberto Bautista Agut, they all progressed as well. Then on the ladies' draw, Sloane Stephens and Alina Svitolina showed why they are among the tournament's most dangerous unseeded players. There are a couple that could topple the top seeds, and then Stephens, she beat 2-time Grand Slam finalist Karolina Pliskova 6-love and 6-4, while Svitolina, she beat Martina Trevisan 6-2 and 6-2. So watch those names as they march on. But that's where we leave our sport for this hour. Brand new day, brand new weather to be aware of, and some news that you really do need to take on board. Carl's got the latest.
Yes, I do. G, let's take a look at the weather news. Now, the South African Weather Service has issued warnings for severe thunderstorms in some provinces. A yellow level 2 warning for severe thunderstorms leading to hail and strong damaging winds are expected over the extreme eastern parts of the Northern Cape, as well as the western and southern parts of the Free State. A yellow level 2 warning has also been issued for disruptive rain leading to localized flooding of susceptible settlements, roads, low-lying areas and bridges expected over the northern and central interior of the Eastern Cape, including the coast. Moreover, there's a third yellow level 2 warning for damaging waves leading to difficulty in navigation at sea, that is between Plettenberg Bay and Port Alfred. Meanwhile, the dams in and around Cape Town, part of the Western Cape water supply system, have shown a slight increase in levels due to the good rain over the past weekend, so a little silver lining amongst all those level 2 warnings. Now on to what is a beautiful sight, the way you wake up in the morning, those sunrises. And let's start off with Poppy Swart from Mtwalume sharing this beautiful image. I mean, look at that. I feel like that was created with AI, but fiery violets and purples. It's just absolutely stunning. Thanks for sending it over. And then Lilith Bauer from KZN shared this gorgeous morning view of the morning sky set ablaze by the golden tones of the sun. Shanice Govender in GQ shared this one, an amazing view at the Nelson Mandela University. The sun's blinding glare peeking through the palm trees, and what a view that is. And then Mersha Stegman from Kariga sharing a short clip of a morning view from her apartment. The pillowy clouds filling the sky with the sun on the rise. It is a gorgeous view, and we love videos too as to how you wake up in the morning and what you see from wherever you are. 063-408-8863. We'd love for you to add that to your phone and send us any of those sunrise views. We'd love to see it as we get into your temperatures today. And this is all over South Africa. Let's start off with you, Polokwane. Good morning, 10 to 22 today. Bombela, 13, rising to 25. Pretoria, 11, rising to 22. Johannesburg, 9, you jump to 20 degrees Celsius with a chance of thunder on a 65% chance at that. Mahikeng, 7 is how you start your day. 19 a little later. Also some thunder in your area. Klerksdorp, thunder 2, 10 to 19. Kimberley, you can expect some rain if it's not raining already. 3, rising to 17. Bloemfontein, 6 to 14 with rain today. Richards Bay, 9 to 27. Thunder for you as well. Pietermaritzburg, guess you guessed it, thunder. Feel the thunder, 13 to 24. Durban, 19 to 24 today. And then Umtata, 10, rising to 19. East London looking lovely, however, a rainy day for you, 14 to 22. Craddock, 6 to 16 today. Gqeberha, you've got 13 to 19 with a 90% chance of rain. George, 8 to 19 for you. Then Cape Town, the mother city, some rain in parts, 10 to 17. Worcester, 91% chance of precipitation, 7 to 18. Sutherland, you start at just 0 this morning, but you rise to 9. Of course, there is some rain expected for you. And then Uppington, 7 to 17, some thunder, around an 80% chance. That's how everybody will start the day, including you in whichever city you're in. But the great thing about starting your day and knowing the temperature is what to wear. So let's help you in.
That is what we are here for, to help you choose your outfit for the day. Now, as the temperatures start to drop, we heard it in the news, we want to keep warm, but also stay stylish at the same time, and also comfortable. And Woolies has winning winter essentials. It's hashtag Tuesday, and I need your help, my Expresso fam, to choose between 2 epic looks this morning. So I'll run you through very quickly. Our first look is this one. It is a cream cable knit polo neck styled with brown corduroy pants and a pair of lekker boots. And then on the other side, we have option 2, plain white tee layered with some khaki cardigan and styled with taupe corduroy pants and some funky sneakers as well. So those are the 2 options for this morning. Now I need your help. Which one should I be wearing for the rest of the show? And of course, you can head on over to our Expresso social media pages and vote for your favorite look. Don't forget to include hashtag styled by Woolies. I can't wait to see what you guys choose for me this morning.
Only you can make my day. It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Expresso here in S3, and I mentioned to you this earlier, of course, relationships. We're going to chat about that today, and we're going to go in depth with regard to all of the conversations. So make sure you stand by for that. Grab a cup of something comforting. Now, communication is the foundation to any healthy relationship. We know that. We chat about that all the time. But if you want to strengthen your relationship, then it's important for both of you to feel safe and comfortable enough to share what's happening in your world. Often there's hiding. There are things that you can't share. There's a bit of pride, there's a bit of worry, but here to chat more about sharing in a relationship is Blythe Brigg and Christiane Irene from Arise Wellness Centre to unpack this key topic that Graham and I are about to delve into. So, shall we?
We share everything, guys.
Yes, we do.
You've got to know that about this relationship.
Everything.
Absolutely everything. You added quite a lot of gravitas with that intro.
Well, I had to because
Building towards something. Ooh.
it's going to be big.
Because it speaks to vulnerability. And we're going to flip the script a little bit. We all want to know, but also do we want to tell? And maybe there's something in that. As the person who's being expected to open up and share, maybe, Blythe, we can start with you. Why is it so important that we do start on that basis of communication? Why is that flow of information so important?
So just like you said, vulnerability. In a relationship, you need to be vulnerable so that you can receive the support that you are expecting and that you need. And unless you have that communication, unless you share your thoughts and desires and needs and all of your aspirations, your loved one is not going to know what you need. There's a very different way of dealing with that in terms of different love languages, and it's important to know what your partner's love language is so that you can talk to them in their language.
I love that because you kind of tap out, you say, I'm not getting what I need. Have you asked for what you need?
Yeah.
Have you made it clear in a way that, you know, the two of you can actually delve into that? I love that.
Well, let's go to love languages, Christiane. Let's go for an active service.
Okay.
I'd like for you to serve us with the information provided with regard to challenges and barriers to sharing in a relationship, because it sounds easy. You're with somebody because you love them. Share, what's the problem? But
so hard?
there are a lot of barriers and challenges that I think that not everybody actually highlights. So please, give us a few that come to mind.
Absolutely. I love that you actually highlight love languages straight off the bat.
Yeah.
That is one of the many challenges. Somebody once explained to me, it's like speaking different languages.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sitting on this couch and I'm speaking French. You're sitting on that chair and you're speaking German. Oh, my word. Can you imagine how well that conversation could go?
Yes.
Exactly.
If we're in a relationship, and truly I am an acts of service, it would be difficult if somebody is, for sakes, not on the same acts of service that I am. I'm cooking meals, I'm going out of my way, and this love language is actually not resonating with them. They are not fulfilled by what I'm doing, and I'm not being fulfilled because they're not acknowledging what I'm putting into this relationship. Simply because, well, I'm speaking French and they understand German.
Okay.
If we look at these challenges even closely, we see the challenges within intimacy, we see the challenges within actually being able to be honest and able to open up in no matter what language we really are speaking in. We also go into honesty there as well. So thank you for bringing that question up.
I absolutely do love that. It hits me that you can walk through your entire relationship doing exactly this, speaking two different languages, creating these kind of expectations that your partner knows nothing about, and then when that's not met, it's a negative reinforcement.
There we
and
go.
keep going through the cycle over and over again. How do we then approach this from a positive perspective, i.e. keeping our independence, because I think that is vitally important for the sense of well-being, but also have that connection of being able to share what we feel safe to share. How do we find that balance? What's the first step, maybe? I know maybe that's a life's journey to achieve it, but where do we begin?
So that's an incredibly important point. Autonomy in a relationship is a must. It is something that a lot of people feel like you need to be in a relationship because that person makes you happy. Being in a relationship is about being both individually happy and still choosing to be together. You're supposed to have individual hobbies. You're supposed to be able to go about your day individually, but have that want, that love for the other person to share with them. And that's where the difference comes in. It's either, you know, that codependency, I need this person to be happy, I need this person to be with me all the time. Or it's, I'm my own individual person, and I love this own individual person next to me as well fully and to their fullest extent. Yeah.
Well, to go back to what you mentioned earlier, Christy, and with regard to acts of service and the communication, obviously there are varying levels of acts of service, which means that even though you could actually share a love language, there are different versions and interpretations and execution of said love language. So why is it so difficult for couples to say, you are not fulfilling my needs? Because why is it that they want to choose peace to not actually engage in that conversation in order to say, like, I would like a different version? I mean, you are cooking me meals, but that's not fulfilling my acts of service. And now suddenly me bringing that up would make me seem ungrateful.
Or judgmental.
And yes, and disrespectful of the hard time that you are spending in the kitchen cooking. So I'd like to just touch on that for a second. How do you break that barrier in a relationship to go into that topic?
This is something that I often have to bring up with my clients is big talks.
Yes.
Big talks. Aha.
Having big emotions means we have to have big talks.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you are going about feeling disappointed because you are working in a love language that you believe your partner is resonating with, but it is actually not fulfilling either of you the way you want it to, that disappointment is a big emotion. If you're going to squirrel it away, you are never going to actually uncover what could be a very helpful conversation. Let's bring it up in a very safe, a very understandable way that we can both put our views on the table, big talk, tabletop talk, and let us understand them, find compromises within our views, find ways to work with our views in order to actually process this disappointment, this emotion, and move beyond it, finding those compromises to actually fulfill those needs.
I love that, because I think if you get to a point where you can have these big talks with a set standard of parameters, where it helps you to control the reactionary stuff. When you know, okay, it's time for one of those talks, we're going to check our baggage at the door for the next 20 minutes. We take a step back and we present our case, and well, that sounds a bit combative, we present our case. That sounds a little bit too much, maybe. We make our pitch. But no, I absolutely love that,
I think I'm loving this conversation. I actually want a part 2, and we have that for you. So 068-408-8863. If you've got any questions for our panel, please feel free. We'd love to ask them anything that you may have with regard to the topic, as Ewan is standing by.
Thank you so much, gents. Oh, what a conversation this morning. Stick around, as Carl said, for round 2 a little bit later on. For now, though, it's nice and early on a Tuesday morning. Let's give away some money. It's your Panado # dose of care.
Introducing new Panado Pediatric Syrup 5ml sachets. They're really convenient to pack and easy to use, so you're always prepared for pain and fever, anytime, anywhere.
Oh, this is going to be very, very special. We know this. Daughters are mom's best friends, brothers' biggest supporters, and dad's absolute heartbeat. Now, nominate a deserving daughter for a dose of care, and they could stand a chance to win 2,000 Rand in cash. And I want us to put a huge round of applause together for our winner this morning, Maklodi Ramoloto. You are our next lucky winner. Come on, Expresso, Feel Good family. You know what? This is very, very special. I'm going to read you this because Maklodi's mom commented saying, my 8-year-old daughter is amazing and funny. Now, last week when I came from work, I found her busy cutting up my 100 Rand note. And when I asked her why she was cutting the money, she simply said that she was doing her project and she needs Mandela. Simple as that. So what I love about my daughter is that she always makes sure she makes me happy, especially with her schoolwork. And she also included those important hashtags, Panado SA and a dose of care. Now, normally we would have Maklodi on the line together with her mom, but unfortunately it is a little bit load shedding on her side. So what she did is she did send us a lovely little voice note. Let's take a listen.
Oh God, thank you so much. Thank you, Panado. Thank you, Expresso. Thank you so much. Ooh. Oh, network is jealous for me. And Lord Shady, thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, I love that. Thank you very much. That's Mariam and Maklodi that you can see there on the screen, and they are very deserving winners this morning of a dose of care, and I love that. Mariam, thank you very much for entering your beautiful daughter. You guys look like you have such a special bond as well, and enjoy that 2,000 Rand dose of care. We are so, so happy to give it to you this morning. Have a wonderful, wonderful day further, and a blessed week for you and your daughter and your entire family. Now, we know this, the impact of a daughter in your life is indescribable. So Bernardo is giving you the chance to show your daughter some recognition with a dose of care, just like Mariam did. And if you want to know how, here's how you do it.
A daughter is just a little girl who grows up to be your best friend. Since daughters are such a gift of love, you can show yours how much she means to you by gifting her the chance to win a 2,000 Rand dose of care cash. Each weekday from the 22nd of May to the 2nd of June, Bernardo SA is giving away 2,000 Rand to a much-loved daughter. If that is a dose of care which you would love your daughter to win, enter by replying to the hashtag Bernardo SA and hashtag a dose of care competition post on Expresso's Instagram, Facebook and Twitter pages. Don't forget to include hashtag Bernardo SA and hashtag a dose of care. T's and C's can be found on expressoshow.com.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, you beauties. Thank you so much for rejoining what has been a very enriching and deeply personal conversation, and hopefully the same can be said for you. We've got some superstars on the couch, Blythe Brigg and Christiane Irene from the amazing Arise Wellness Centre. They're back with us to continue to discuss sharing in relationships and what that looks like. Every relationship is completely unique. Every person is completely different. We know that people come together for very different reasons, with different makeups, and part of what defines a healthy relationship is starting a common goal for exactly what you want that relationship to be and where you want it to go, at least the true north. You don't have to just immediately get there. That's something you'll only know by having a big talk. As we now know, you need to get there, you need to be honest, vulnerable, and go a little deeper, man.
I like big talks.
Yeah, man.
Can I do a big talk right now?
Yes,
With
I'm ready.
Blythe?
Check my baggage at
All
the
right,
door. I'm ready.
yes.
I'm ready.
Here's the big talk, and I think that they say sharing is caring. But what is in the sharing? In a romantic relationship, what are the things that should be shared, and is it everything? Are some things still okay to be private when you are in a romantic relationship with someone? Of course, I want to know about the balance there, because I know it's very, very difficult. But I'm talking about passwords, and you're talking about DMs, and your phone being open on the kitchen counter.
Does this mean different
and all
things
those
to
things.
different
Yes,
people?
exactly. So I'd just like to know, and I know this is a very hard one. I'm sorry, Blythe. You looked at me, and I looked at you, and I was like, you are the best person to
You looked at me for a moment,
Yeah,
I
did
looked
look at you as
Blythe
well.
again.
Thoughts on that? You know, are there things that you can still keep private in a romantic relationship?
Absolutely. It's, like you say, completely dependent on the person.
Yeah.
And that's where these big talks come from. For example, everyone has their own interpersonal relationships with your best friend, with your family members, with all sorts of people in your life. You don't have to share every intimate situation with them. You don't have to tell your partner every secret about you and your best friend. You also, if you've got past trauma and that's something you don't feel comfortable bringing up or talking about, yes, it should be in a relationship that you feel comfortable about, but there are certain traumas that are triggering to even talk about, and sometimes triggering for even knowing that someone else knows about them. So in those situations, you know, that's where the trust comes in. You've got to trust that your partner is telling you everything you need to know about them, but also realize that you don't have to know absolutely every single detail, because if your cup's already full, how is it going to get any fuller? How are you going to learn to love them more? How are you going to find out more interesting things about them throughout the rest of your life?
It must be a choice.
Yes,
And when I say that, I mean, from my perspective, I've come to terms with my life, my history, my past, and everyone has the right to at least own their own baggage from that perspective. So don't tell me what you need to know about me to form an opinion. Yes, that's one side of things. I also trust that my wife is going to make decisions on my behalf in certain elements that are far better than I could make, and that's how we have helped each other a lot, because she has personality traits that are non-existent in me and otherwise. But it took a lot of vulnerability and some pretty hectic stuff to get us to that point. Can we avoid that? Can we premise a relationship with a conversation, a big talk before we even get going, so that we know what those expectations are?
Amazingly, that's quite the challenge. In a world where we have Tinder, in a world where we have dating apps, what are you actually going into a relationship needing?
What's the expectation? Yeah.
Thank you. The expectation here is the biggest point behind it all. Going into a relationship having the expectation that it's a hookup, well, please do not share your life story. Your password should probably not come up in a conversation. However, if this is somebody who you've been with, you're committed to, that trust is present. Share. Be able to trust that person. Your password is a completely
Different
personal thing.
That's-
However, to be able to have conversations, these big talks, and be able to be vulnerable with one another, to say why your password is private to you. So you know what, actually, this is a personal matter.
Well, give me your
And
journal. Can I read your journal?
We respect
Yeah,
each
it's the
other's
same vibe.
personal
Yeah,
matters.
sure.
To have that conversation when we know what the expectations of the relationship are, puts a premise into what those conversations are going towards. We are talking about our future when we're talking about today.
Yeah, for sure.
And that is truly what happens when we have that vulnerability, that intimacy, and the ability to share.
And that's because it is. Your future is a state of being lived now. The future doesn't exist. So whatever that notion is, it's not a reality. It's just something that informs how you are acting right now. And if that is toxic, then there's an issue. I love that.
Thinking about it, we have more to discuss. In fact, hold on, I want a part 3.
Can we do it?
Let's do a part 3. I feel like
I'll
it's
back you,
important.
eh?
Okay, thank you, because I want to actually discuss some of the red flags in a relationship with regard to the sharing concept. So make sure you got your question ready if you'd like to. A voice note's fine, 068 408 8863, of course. And make sure that you actually ask these questions as well. We've got Blythe, we've got Christiane, we've got Graham. We've got this panel ready for you. So if you have any questions, that number, once again, 063 408 8863. We are ready for your questions.
Is that your password as well?
It is indeed.
Loving the conversations this morning. Thank you very much, gents. But it is nice and early. Let's get the blood flowing right now. Now, as the first product in the crumb chicken category to be approved by the Heart and Stroke Foundation, Farmer Brown's Nourish range recognized that making small lifestyle changes are absolutely essential. So what better way to keep your body healthy than with a good cardio workout paired with a great diet as well? Now, fitness trainer Paul Jordan is here to show us some lovely exercises. Paul's back, man. How are you doing, champ?
It's good to be back.
To be back, always
Lovely,
good.
dude. Yeah, I'm loving the conversation this morning around nutrition, but also then exercise. But I'm glad we're tackling the cardio because we know that there are certain exercises that target specific parts of the body.
Correct.
But in what way would you say that cardio exercises can really benefit your entire lifestyle?
So obviously, cardio has a bunch of benefits. In short, it strengthens your heart, your blood vessels, and your lungs. It improves brain function. There's a lot of physical benefits that it also has, but in general, it improves your quality of life.
There we go.
Just to keep it short, that's a couple of points. And adding cardio to your daily routine, whether it's in your workouts or whether it's just maybe after work or before work, can have a massive difference on your quality of life.
So. And we know that there's various ways that you can get that cardio in, and it's not necessarily going to run on a treadmill when you go to the gym.
No.
You know, it's nice to incorporate the entire body with different kind of exercises, and that's what you're going to show us this morning.
Yes.
Right, take it away. What are you doing?
All right, so for today's exercise,
the good old skipping rope.
good old skipping rope.
All right, I haven't
easiest
done
one
this
to
in a
do.
while.
We're going to start off with this, 30 seconds to a minute. After that, we're going to include some strength training exercises just to get the blood pumping through your upper body and through the ab section.
All right. Okay, let's see. Let's get some space
loose.
here. So
Okay.
30 seconds of this.
Correct.
There we go. It's nothing like skipping for a good cardio worker, that I can tell you.
Let's keep it for 50 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Okay.
All right.
Well, the one person is going to be using
What is
roll,
it? The ab roll.
ab roll.
Oh my goodness.
Other one's going to be doing 30
Should have
seconds,
warned me that I warm up.
seconds of chest.
Okay,
Okay.
see if I can still do this.
So this is going to be simple. Let me just explain
So-
here
so-
as well. So it's
okay.
going to be a normal push-up, up, shoulder.
Oh wow, so
Okay.
just arching a little bit there.
Yes.
And
Okay.
for this, you want feet straight up or knees on the floor?
Well, I'll recommend doing
Starting
it
with your knees.
Start off with your knees. If you feel like you're strong enough, then forward you can go on your
Okay, let's warm up first nicely.
nice,
There's
slow.
nothing like a good ab roll.
Let's give about 15 seconds and switch. And after that, we go straight into the skipping again.
Yeah.
Five, four,
There's no way I can talk
three,
and do this at the same time.
2, and 1. Let's switch.
Oh, goodness me. All right. So push up into a shoulder push up.
Correct.
Got
You
it.
can- I think you can do 6 normal push-ups, and from there on forward, you can do the pike push-ups.
There we go. Ha! Here we go.
Give it. Go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Into the skipping again.
And back to skipping.
Yes.
Love it. You can really feel
My recommendation would be to add a couple of seconds with your second set, and with every set
In between.
just add a couple of seconds.
All right, here we go. Let's get that blood flowing. And this is also nice because, I mean, it just shows you you don't need a whole lot of equipment. I mean, what we're using this morning is easily, you know, that you can get at the shops. You can keep it, you can store it nicely at home. There we go.
For about 20 more. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good.
Hey, lovely stuff, dude. And there we have it. And then you run through this little circuit.
Keep the circuit going. If you feel strong enough, you can add an exercise or two with it. Maybe do close grip for targeting the triceps.
Nice.
Wide grip, you can just keep
Yeah.
going like that for about 3 to 4 sets. Keep that
See,
going.
there's the cardio element coming in now, because especially if you add a strength training side to it as
Yes.
well, you know, just getting that muscle to activate as well, that pushes that heart rate even
I think
further.
if you really want to go into it, you can start including lower body exercises as
Oh,
well.
goodness
And then
me.
hit an entire full body set,
Yeah.
set with this.
Some good old air squats will go perfectly with this as well.
I mean, we can always give it a try.
You're more than welcome to carry on, dude. Thank you very much, man.
course.
That was lekker. Now we are properly awake this morning. So include this maybe in your morning little ritual at home. Do this little workout. You're going to have a good cardio boost for the rest of the day, and you're going to feel great, because cardio gets your blood pumping, whether you're running, dancing, or even hauling a week's worth of groceries that include your Farmer Brown Nourish range. And as long as your heart rate is elevated, like mine is at the moment, you're getting your cardio in.
There you go.
Farmer Brown's Nourish Crumb Chicken Breast, proudly made with the healthiest ingredients to fuel your body with wholesome goodness. They taste so good because they eat so good.
Only you can make my day. It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. It's your Feel Good Breakfast Show, Expresso here on S3. If you missed out on our last couple of chats, it's all been about relationships. Now, Blythe Brigg and Christiane Irene from Arise Wellness Center are back with us as we wrap up our conversation on sharing in relationships. It sounds pretty simple, but many couples find that the face-to-face contact of their early dating days is gradually replaced by hurried text and emails and instant messages, and I'll get to that later, baby. While digital communication is great for some purposes, it doesn't positively impact your brain and nervous system in the same way as face-to-face communication does, because that really does show a lot of intimacy and, of course, affection when it needs to. But I was chatting a little earlier to Graham and our panel around red flags in a relationship. When you think something is up and you need to have a big talk. Blythe, once again, I'm going to throw you this curveball. My apologies, but I have to. A red flag with regard to the sharing. You know, when you feel like there's a problem with regard to the sharing, or where you need to start actually opening a conversation to share, what would you say would be some of the red flags just to look out for as a matter of assistance to any viewer now watching this conversation and is stuck in a situation where they're thinking, what's going on, what's happening?
Yeah. So red flags are personal. They come from our past traumas that we recognize. So first thing you've got to recognize is this a red flag? Is this a red flag, or is this something that I am bringing from my past and putting on you? Yeah. And that's something that you have to know your partner. So is this something that they're suddenly changing? Are they suddenly doing something different? Or is this something that you're just suddenly now noticing for the first time? And that's where the communication comes in, being confident and comfortable to have that conversation with them and not accusational. Say an assertive conversation where you are saying, this is why I'm feeling like this. You use this I statement instead of, you're making me feel like this. You're saying,
yes.
I feel like this, possibly because of my past. Can you let me know why you're doing this so that I have more comfort? And that's where you address those red flags. But the red flags would be out of character things. The not coming home when they said they're coming home, or suddenly no longer having their morning chats with you, or whatever it is that your normal relationship ritual is. If something changes, that's a red flag. But if something else is going on that might be in the background of your mind from past traumas or learnt behaviors, that is something that just needs to be addressed and put to rest, and that trust needs to come in so you can trust that your partner is being honest and answering you properly.
Yeah.
I suppose that's where the investment in marriage kind of changed the game for me, where there was an obligation to start working on the dynamics of our relationship, not just exist in complement to each other, but find a way to actually improve. And we've broken through some barriers, but it's been so hectic. It's so hectic to go to those places and not react. I think my biggest issue from my own personal perspective is the fact that I get triggered, and extremely triggered. How do we transcend that? If I'm being triggered while I want to talk to you about something that I know is going to trigger you, how do we take our hands off the triggers and just have a big conversation? Is there a practical way we can take ourselves out of that reactionary kind of mindset or space?
When you say practical, I'm going to go practical.
Okay.
Go for it.
In a relationship, we are two individuals.
Yeah.
We need to look at this, as you just said, a marriage, a little bit like a contract between two individuals.
But that's what it is.
In a business, would it run if we do not have meetings, if we do not have set aside time to focus on areas that need focus?
R&D.
Well, this is what has to happen in our relationships as well. Be as practical as what keeps a business afloat. Be as logical as what keeps money coming into a business as love coming into your relationship.
Okay.
Sit down once a month, once a week. Set that time aside. Make it a powwow, as we call it between us,
I like it.
or a family meeting. Have a time that you sit down and actually say, you know, these are some of the challenges I'm facing this month. This is also an incredible time to actually bring up some of those things you are feeling scared to bring up. Maybe you've had to take a pay cut at work. Maybe you've been laid off. Those are huge things to discuss in a relationship. I would say that's a bit of a huge talk.
Yeah.
How can we bring that up? At dinner with the kids? In bed with my wife when we're calm in bed? Or maybe if we have a time set aside where we're meant to have these very uncomfortable talks, I know that I can have that talk then, and it will be respected.
Creating that space.
I love that.
Wow.
This is, I don't know if this is a powwow or a big talk. I feel like we had a pretty big talk.
I think there was a huge talk. There was like a three-parter as well. It's like the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but acceptance for relationships. I love that. But on a very serious note, Blythe and Christiane from Mariah's Wellness Centre, thank you for joining us. You've really given us practical tips. The last bit over there, Christiane, that was wonderful. If you think about that communication, being intentional with those meetings, I feel like you can have a proper state of the relationship address, which would be wonderful for both of you to share in that way. So thank you so much. Keep on sharing your partner. You'll be very surprised to know that they have things to share as well. So please keep it coming and continue sharing with us. You're in a relationship with your Feel Good Breakfast Show, Expresso.
Thank you, my precious.
Thank you very much, Jane. What an informative chat this morning, that is for sure. Keep your comments coming on our social media. We'd love to hear from you. Right now, though, let's turn our attention to our healthcare professionals. Pharmacists are not only brave, but they inspire hope within their community. And Pharmacy of the Week is a very short feature acknowledging and saying thank you to these brave healthcare workers. Proudly brought to you by Adcock Ingram OTC, sponsors of Brave. Now, this morning, let's take a look at this week's Pharmacy of the Week. Medisport Pharmacy in Umhlanga, KwaZulu-Natal.
Our pharmacies are on the front line of healthcare. This is Pharmacy of the Week.
I've worked in the Umhlanga area for 23 years. Umhlanga Medisport Pharmacy was established in 1951, so we've been serving the community for in excess of 70 years. Our community is like our family, so we're very focused on building relationships within the community, getting to know the families and being of service to them. So it's very important that our clients are interacted with and recognized and felt comfortable in our store. We have a full-time hostess on the floor that meets and greets. Obviously then tells the clients of our services, that we are 24-hour pharmacy. The pharmacist is quite underutilized. He's got a lot of information. You know, medical expenses are high, and a lot of ailments can be treated by the pharmacist before they go on the next rung of the healthcare ladder. When Brave comes to mind, I think of the COVID pandemic and how as a team we pulled together to be of service from day one when the rest of the country was locked down at home. Our doors were open, and we tried to continue our service and serve the community and be there for the community.
Pharmacy of the Week, proudly brought to you by Adcock Ingram, OTC, sponsors of Brave. Inspiring communities, one pharmacy at a time.
Did you know that almost 1 in 5 South African adults suffer from chronic pain? Try new ActivePatch pain relief technology at the push of a button. It's easy to use and can be worn 24/7. Proven to relieve muscle and joint pain, low back and neck pain, arthritic pain, pain from sports injury, plantar fasciitis, and more. Easy to use drug and sensation-free pain relief at the push of a button. ActivePatch, long-lasting pain relief. Ask your pharmacist about ActivePatch now.
I love this, putting the spotlight on our unsung heroes. Now, thank you to all of our local pharmacies doing incredible work and amazing things for their community. We do appreciate you. We'll be back after the break.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show. This is Expresso on S3. And every now and then we love asking you to dress us because sometimes we don't know. We have too many options thanks to Woolworths, and naturally we're going to ask you to do that. So Ewan was given a couple of options just to remind you what they were. If you look at this lovely picture, cream cable knit polo neck. Always lovely with a polo neck. We love those. It just keeps the neck warm and keeps the voice warm so we can, execute some things for you. And then outfit 2 is a plain white tee laid with a khaki cardigan. So we have two schools of thought here. Is it a polo neck? Is it a cardigan? Which one would Ewan look the best in? Even though Ewan looks good in anything, but thanks a lot for the choices. We love that. So let's look at some of your comments. I would like to track through them. So we got Anthea Kruger, and Anthea is saying, definitely option 1. It's freezing cold. So the cream cable knit polo neck seems to be good for Anthea. Hashtag Style by Woolies added as well. Always love a good hashtag there. And then, of course, Omuhle saying, number 1, the cream cable knit polo neck and brown corduroy pants as well. Actually adding a little bit of a sample there. I always love that. And then next up, we got Kulakahle saying, you will look good in both. I agree. Didn't I just say that he looks good in anything? But I mean, you did give us a couple of options from your side. And then Malika saying this, option 1 number 1 would look very, very fly on Ewan. Very masculine and chic at the same time. 2 things, same sentence. I like that. And then Shireen saying, good morning, Ewan and the team. Happy Tuesday. Option 1, perfect for the weather, especially with the boots, stylish. And then Zalandia saying, definitely option 1, it's more his style and it'll look good on him. So remember, we value your opinion, we value your thoughts, so much so that we are willing to really put our polo neck where our body is, like Ewan is about to do as he strolls in. As you can see, the polo neck. I want you to focus on that camera. I'll just do the narration. As you can see, Ewan looking fantastic. That is a cream cable polo neck. It's a knit as well. And as you go, you can either be with it or with knit. He is with knit. It's good. Look at that pants, corduroy. And as you know, corduroy is coming back. The beautiful shoes as well, and the beautiful man that is Ewan. This is how you do it. If it's winter and you want to keep it warm, in fact, Varam, maybe hot, Ewan is the person to put into a polo neck.
I feel cozy.
Yeah.
I feel cozy. Thank you. You guys clearly know me better than I know myself. Thank you very much for that.
It's beautiful.
I know. I can't remember the last time I wore a corduroy pants.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
You know,
when last, and I mean, here we are, and it's so lekker, and it's so warm, and it's cozy.
Yes.
I love the knit because I'm with knit. I love that.
I love that. So you're looking good. I mean, if you want to look like this, I mean, you can. I mean, you're not Ewan, but I think that you'd look fantastic. So look at that. Fantastic. If you want to go grab that, just go to Woolworths. As you know, it's always in store, it's online, and of course, it's on the app as well. Keep warm this winter with Woolworths.
You look good too.
You look warm.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. A few minutes before the hour, but time now for us to delve into our national news before we get into the sport. But let's start here in South Africa, where 4 of the 5 accused who applied for bail in the Thabo Bester escape case have been refused bail in the Bloemfontein Magistrates Court. The 5th accused, Natasha Jansen, was granted bail of 10,000 rand. Jansen, Senoge Matsuara, Tebogo Lepolo, Buti Masukela, and Tiego Mahotsa are on trial together with the convicted criminal Thabo Bester, his girlfriend Nandipa Magudumana, and Magudumana's father Zolile Sekaleni on various charges, and these include arson, desecration, defeating the ends of justice, fraud, and that they helped Bester escape from Mangoang prison in May last year. The case will resume on June the 20th. Then the chief of the South African National Defence Force, General Rudzani Mapanwanya, says he's prepared to risk his reputation that nothing was loaded on the Russian ship, the Lady R, in Simonstown in December last year. Mapanwa says the Commission of Inquiry appointed by our President Cyril Ramaphosa at the weekend will reveal all the facts of the matter. The Defence Force chief was speaking in Bloemfontein on the anniversary of the United Nations International Day for Peacekeepers. And casting a wider net now on the international news front, this is a shocking story. A 15-year-old girl accused of having started a fire at a school dormitory in Guyana in South America last week has been charged now with 19 murders yesterday. The 18 mostly indigenous girls of the area and a 5-year-old boy perished in the buildings in the central city of Mahdia. The girl started the fire after her phone was confiscated. Police said she's being held in Guyana's juvenile detention center. Some 30 children were hospitalized and 2 girls in critical condition were flown to New York on Saturday for further medical attention. Now we return to the continent as Uganda's progress in tackling HIV is in grave jeopardy after the country's president approved tough new anti-homosexuality legislation. The UN and the US have now both warned. They said an increasing number of people are being discouraged from seeking vital health services for fear of attacks and punishment. Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni has signed the anti-homosexuality bill into law. It's among the harshest anti-LGBTQ laws in the world right now. Homosexual acts have been illegal in Uganda for some time, but now anyone convicted faces life imprisonment. Now we head a little further afield for another rather bizarre story with a little help from a stranger. Flo, a devoted mother of quite a few calves in Ontario in Canada, witnessed her newborn saved. Now Flo had unfortunately given birth too close to an electrified fence, and that separated her pasture from a highway, and a slope of the ground allowed her slippery newborn to slide under the wires. Now, fortunately, a neighbor happened to pass and saw Flo was upset. Taking a closer look, he realized that what was actually happening and immediately pushed the calf back under the fence, not escaping a few shocks, of course, for himself along the way. The result was the calf could have that vitally important first milk containing colostrum for a healthy immune system. We know what that does. The neighbor later returned, and the farmer told him the calf had been named Sparky. And then, lo and behold, at the precise moment, Sparky ambled up to them and sniffed at the neighbor, then led its mom to him as if to say, thank you. Incredible stuff. The two baffled men realized the surprising capacity for emotion these animals have, or at least for us to be able to transfer it. But there you can see Sparking looking better than ever. Now, I think the same can be said for our Poch in our upcoming sports report. Yep, there's a new man at the helm of Chelsea. Let's find out who.
And here's the man, the new person taking over the Blues. Chelsea have appointed former Tottenham and Paris Saint-Germain manager Mauricio Pochettino as their new manager. Now, the Argentine begins his new role on the 1st of July 2023 on a 2-year contract with an option of a further year. Interim boss Frank Lampard took Chelsea to 12th in the Premier League, their lowest finish for more than 25 years. Chelsea say Pochettino was first choice and the only manager who was brought into the club for talks. On to cricket, Chennai Super Kings staged a remarkable chase to beat Gujarat Titans by 5 wickets and win the IPL for a 5th time. Now, Sai Sudarsan's 96 had helped put the Titans in a commanding position as they finished their innings on 214 for the loss of 4, and rain led to a lengthy delay before the Super Kings' innings was reduced to 15 overs and their new target was 171. Devon Conway and Ruturaj Gaikwad put on 74 for the first wicket, with Conway top scoring on 47. Ravi Jadeja was the match winner though, and with his team needing 10 off the final 2 balls, he hit a 6 and then a 4 to seal a thrilling win off the last ball of the match, as if it was written in a script. Now on to rugby news. World Cup winning Springbok winner Cheslin Kolbe has left Toulon 3 months before South Africa begin their defence of their title. The 29-year-old joined Toulon from top 14 rivals Toulouse in 2021 and scored 6 tries in 18 matches this season despite an ankle sprain which sidelined him for a month. He had 1 year left in his contract, and French rugby media have reported several months that he has been courted by clubs in Japan. And wrapping with tennis news, Novak Djokovic launched his quest for a record-breaking 23rd men's Grand Slam singles title with a no-nonsense 6-3, 6-2 and 7-6 first-round victory over debutant Alexander Kovacevic and world number 1 Carlos Alcaraz. He beat Flavio Cobolli 6-love, 6-2 and 7-5, while Denis Shapovalov as well as Alex de Minaur and Roberto Bautista Agut all progressed as well. Sloane Stephens and Elina Svitolina showed why they are among the tournament's most dangerous unseeded players, and Stephens beat 2-time Grand Slam finalist Karolina Pliskova 6-love and 6-4, while Svitolina beat Martina Trevisan 6-2 and 6-2. That's it for your sporting action on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Another update in 1 hour, but if you are still heading to work, here's what's ahead of you.
Thank you so much, Carl. Let's quickly take a look at what's happening out on the roads. It is getting busy at this stage. We're starting off in Durban very quickly. The road has been closed on the N2 North, and that's due to protesting between the M7 highway and Spaghetti Junction. So please, if you can, use an alternative route until further notice. Then heading over to Kalk Bay in Cape Town, there have been reports of heavy flooding on the main road in Kalk Bay. So please approach there with caution, or best to try and use an alternative route this morning. Then in Athlone in Cape Town, there's congestion on the N2 inbound at Jakes Gerwel. Do expect delays here and allow for more travel time this morning as well. And over in Strand, Cape Town, there have been reports of debris on the R44 between Royals and Gordons Bay. So please approach there with caution as well. If you're out on the roads this morning, South Africa, please drive with care. Let's get into your weather. Starting off with some weather news, first and foremost, a wildfire in the province of Nova Scotia in Canada has led to schools being closed and mandatory evacuation orders for thousands of homes in Halifax, and residents will not be allowed to return until advised by municipal authorities. Now, a state of local emergency was declared on Sunday, with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau tweeting that the wildfire situation in the province of Nova Scotia is incredibly serious and that his government was ready to provide any assistance if needed. Now, the state of emergency will be in effect for 7 days unless lifted or extended. Now, by yesterday afternoon, the raging fire was still not under control, and earlier this month, the province of Alberta in Canada also declared a provincial state of emergency after tens of thousands of people were forced from their homes as unprecedented wildfires raged. Now, from your weather news to your sunrise views this morning. Let's take a look at what you sent in, starting off with Dwayne from Steenberg, around the corner, shared his dazzling view of the sun lighting up the morning sky. Thank you very much for sharing. Look at that. And then we have Fawzia Tobias from GQ, sent in her amazing image of the sun on the rise. It's fiery, it's orange, the hues are lighting up the sky. Thank you very much. What a way to wake up as well. And then Nina from Gordons Bay. Good morning. Nina captured this particular image, the clouds forming in the sky. Also a beautiful way to wake up, even caught a bit of a bird flying around there as well. And then Yusuf from Durban. Good morning, Yusuf. And let me be honest, he's got a magazine-worthy image this morning of Durban North Beach. Absolutely spectacular. And you got to wonder, I wonder if those birds were perhaps some paid actors, because it's just such an iconic shot. Thank you, Yusuf. It looks incredible. Always appreciate your sunrise views. Please continue sharing with us this morning on our WhatsApp line 063-408-8863. Now, for your temperatures this morning, we're starting off in Polokwane, which is starting off on 10 minimum, reaching a high of 22 degrees. Mbombela 13.25, Pretoria 11.22, Johannesburg on 9 minimum this morning, reaching a warmer 20 degrees later on today with a chance of thunderstorms as well. Heading over to Mahikeng on 7 minimum this morning, your maximum 19 degrees, Klerksdorp 10 and a high of 19. Kimberley starting off on a cold 3 degrees this morning, staying cool with a maximum of only 17 degrees. Bloemfontein also nice and cold this morning on 6 degrees minimum, staying cold with a maximum of only 14 degrees and a 95% chance of rain as well in the area. Richards Bay 19.27 and Pietermaritzburg on 13 with a mild maximum of 24 degrees. Durban starting off on 19 degrees minimum, your maximum 24 degrees, a chance of thunder showers in the area as well. Mthatha starting off on 10 minimum, reaching a maximum of 19 degrees. Then heading over to East London on 14 degrees minimum, your maximum 22 degrees. There's a high chance, 94% in fact, chance of rain. Cradock 6 and a maximum of 16. Gqeberha on 13 this morning, reaching maximum of 19 degrees. George on 8 degrees minimum, staying cold with a maximum of 19. Cape Town also on the cold side with 10 minimum this morning with a maximum of 17 degrees later on today. Worcester starting off on 7 degrees minimum with a maximum of 18. Sutherland around 0 this morning, staying very cold with a maximum of only 9 degrees. And Uppington starting off on 17 degrees minimum and a maximum of 17 degrees with an 80% chance of some thunder showers in the area. And that's where we leave your weather and your traffic for now. We'll have another update for you just after 8 o'clock.
More relationship talk on the beautiful Expresso here in S3. Now, I know that a little earlier we had a discussion this related to sharing in a relationship, and now there are certain things that often are not shared. If you think about it, there are certain ways of coloring outside the lines or online infidelity. This is a big thing in this day and age, you know it.
It is massive. That's when you're in a committed relationship, but find yourself, as Carl very aptly put it, coloring a little outside the lines and looking for a connection online other than that with your partner. Well, our favorite clinical psychologist, Slindile Mbata, joins us to chew on this gristle. We love this because I think it affects a lot more people than we're aware of. Slee, are you nervous about chatting about this? Are you excited?
Have
I'm
you
very
won?
interested. Very interested to see what you think about this. as well.
Really? Oh, really?
I feel like that was just a quick...
Yeah.
Do you have any questions for us?
A rope-a-dope. You just came back, boom, boom.
All right.
We love this topic because
Yeah.
it does speak to the human condition right now. If you're in a relationship, chances are you've got one foot, one hand on your device in the social media space. Surely we can't all be fulfilled just by one person. Surely we need to have light and shade in our lives, or is this too much to expect?
Well, surely it's very interesting. I don't necessarily, I don't think that it would be reasonable to expect to be fulfilled by one person completely, you know. I think even with our own family members, with our friends, there's different things that we can come to expect of them reasonably. However, it doesn't mean that you should necessarily look for something elsewhere.
Yeah.
You know, a partner can probably provide most of your needs. But maybe not all of them. And I don't know if it is also reasonable to expect that they're going to tick every single box.
Okay. I know back in the day when we looked at our parents, it was like, you know, there's one man, one woman, you know. But now relationship dynamics have changed. I mean, there are modern relationships and traditional relationships. And I'd like to look into those for a second. Because now that we do have an access point, an escape, if you will, for some, how do these traditional values clash with the modern values with regard to how we interact online versus how we interact as people? I know this is kind of a loaded and very vague question, but you know, I'm not trying to justify anybody's behavior, but we do exist in the online space more than ever in our entire, you know, sort of history of humankind. So talk to me about how those modern relationships versus traditional relationships, how they clash and how it has come to be that some people have decided to use that little escape in their hands in order to find solace, peace, comfort, and maybe connection.
Yeah, well, I think that, you know, traditional relationships are very different to modern relationships in terms of what the expectations might be. You know, gender roles have changed quite significantly over time. So what was normal 50 years ago might not be so normal today. I think also there's a lot more that is expected from people, you know, in terms of communication, provision, not just financially, but emotionally too. So nowadays, I think it's much more expected that, you know, each partner is going to show up much more fully in the relationship. So you're not just physically in the home, but that you're present, you're switched on. You know, people, I think we do expect people now to care so much more about what's going on with us internally. So there's a lot of, like, you know, psychological talk, and I think there's just a much bigger expectation in general that people would be more interested in the different facets of what makes a person. Yeah, so I think that sometimes maybe if people feel like they can't necessarily find everything in their relationship, they might go online and find that somebody else, you know, communicates a little bit better or understands them a little bit more.
Or I'm going to put it down to something quite silly and just make this an ego-driven thing. You wanting your partner of 5 years to keep stroking your ego, they're well beyond telling you how amazing you look. You go online, you will get validation immediately from a stranger on tap. And I think there's something in that exchange. We can think about that for just a moment. We're going to continue our conversation around sleep. I'd like to ask you guys this question. When is too much? When does that online communication, that colouring outside the lines, become infidelity? When is that cheating? And does that rest on your partner or you? We'll continue in just a moment.
Here's to the coffee magicians. The ones who know what you get out starts with what you put in.
Feel Good Breakfast Show.
Welcome back to Feel Good Breakfast Show. This is Expresso and you're live on S3. Now, we had a quick conversation with Slee, our resident clinical psychologist, regarding online infidelity and colouring outside the lines. And of course, I brought Ewan in over here because we need to really just unpack this concept of online infidelity, what it means and what are the implications thereof and all the nuances around it. But let's get straight back into it because there's a lot of questions here and a lot of people who would want to ask questions, but they're sitting and waiting for us to provide those. So let's go for it.
We want to try and find that line.
Yeah.
You know, what is the line? Is there a line that you don't cross when it comes to, like you guys put it, colouring outside of the lines? I love that. But I want to open with a statement or kind of a couple of words because we think about this, we take it on board, but I mean, what would your opinion around it be? So that is being, if you can't say it in front of your significant other, you probably shouldn't do it. Is that a fair test when it comes to chatting online?
Absolutely, I think so. You know, I think that sometimes we can really get distracted by the medium that we convey messages in. You know, so it might feel insignificant because, oh, it's from phone to phone, it's not words coming out of my mouth. But I mean, it's a conversation that you're having with, you know, these other people. And if you wouldn't
Somebody
say...
other than the person that you're romantically involved in.
Exactly. And so if you're sharing very intimate details or you're saying things that are, you know, quite intimate and you wouldn't necessarily say that in front of your partner or want them to know that that's what you're saying, I think you probably shouldn't be doing it.
I can start seeing that line.
Yes, so, because the thing is that the biggest justification would be, I'm not touching somebody. You know, I'm not I'm not getting physical with anybody. Perhaps the content of the texts are of a nature that's adult and it's not you, but I'm not touching anybody, which would denote a traditional description of an affair.
Sure.
So that particular process, how people defend themselves, especially with regard to online infidelity, how do you navigate that particular space, especially when somebody is saying, hey, I'm exonerated from any sort of wrongdoing because it's just a text, you know? I'd still go into the same bed with you.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that the question really is why are you doing it? You know, what is it that you're looking for?
Yeah.
Are
so
you
even if
emotionally detached
right,
from your
so even if
partner?
it's not physical, you know, it doesn't get physical. It doesn't necessarily have to. Sometimes it's emotional, and if you're seeking for, you know, emotional maybe affection from somebody else, it might be a form of cheating. You know, if you're seeking even just somebody to say that you look quite attractive, you know, perhaps it actually is signaling that you need to reevaluate your relationship and probably communicate with your partner instead of enjoying it from somewhere else.
Yeah, I just feel like exactly. I mean, once you step over that line where you are starting to chat to somebody other than your significant other, and I mean, relationships takes many forms, you know. But I mean, in a traditional relationship, I mean, I always try to ask yourself the question: how would you feel if your partner goes about and starts chatting with somebody else other than you, in a manner that is a little bit more emotional and deeper than they would chat to their partner also? But it happens. It happens that trust is broken online. It can be absolutely detrimental. And again, for a lot of people, there's different forms of infidelity and cheating, and online, you know, being a space for one of them. How do you rebuild trust once something like that happens? When you have stepped over the line and your partner recognizes that as actual cheating?
Yeah, I think it's very important to communicate with your partner about, you know, you might even need to understand where did it go wrong. So where did this thing kind of start? Are my needs not being met, you know, in the relationship? What are those needs? Are they reasonable needs to have, you know, from your partner? Maybe it's actually needs that we'd rather actually be fulfilled through our family members or friends, and you actually expect your partner to be all things, you know, to you all the time. But yeah, I think communication is key. Possibly going for counseling, you know, if it might be better to have that conversation with a mediator present. And some people find it very difficult to say things to their partner, you know, because of fear that it's going to break down the relationship or that they won't be heard. So I think it's very important to sort of rebuild trust and also show through your actions that you are willing to do what is needed to rebuild the relationship. So don't say, okay, great, I'm not going to spend as much time online, but actually every time I walk in the room, you're on your phone. When we're supposed to be having quality time, you're still doing the same things as before. So let your actions actually match up with what it is that you're
It really
saying.
does come down to communication at the end of the day.
That is it.
Because if you really do care for each other in that relationship, it doesn't matter how difficult it is, at the end of the day, I mean, both parties need to be happy and fulfilled in that relationship. And it doesn't mean, that there's particularly something wrong. It might just be a small little issue that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so when they say it's going down the DMs, what they mean is a direct message to your partner and saying, I'd like to chat to you directly and actually connect. And that's communication is such a beautiful thing. We've been chatting about this as a theme in the show. But Slee, thank you so much for tackling some of these very, very key things around online infidelity. And of course, if you are seeking guidance from a psychologist, that can really be valuable in navigating the impact of online infidelity on a relationship. And open communication, as we've been saying over and over again, and setting boundaries are a great way to start the conversation. Talking about conversation, we started one on social media with you today. And here's Graham with some of your comments. So, here it goes.
Yeah, we are loving the fact that you guys are weighing in. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. This one coming from Lebo. I don't mind knowing my partner's personal and him knowing mine, but one must be careful not to go snooping because you might end up finding more than you bargained for. And I don't believe in keeping things from someone. It's just not fair. Yeah, sometimes you get exactly what you ask for. Gary Oakham, morning, Gary. Great to hear from you. When he's asleep, I use his fingerprint to unlock his phone. Kidding. We know each other's codes and banking passwords. What kind of a relationship can you possibly have with secrets? I suppose it speaks to what phase of relationship you're in. Clearly, Gary and his partner have gone all in. Rose Chetty, respectful and matured couples don't need to play hide and seek. Wow, you just went and dropped some mature wisdom on us, Rose. Love that. Lisa saying, me and my partner do not have passwords, and I believe he will tell me the day he creates one. You believe it, girl. You believe it. I love that. So people, I think, being quite kind of calm and untriggered by this. If you are triggered by it, we'd love to hear from you as well. Is this something that's creating a burning trigger within your own relationship? Let us know. Do you know your partner's passwords and vice versa? And do you think certain things don't need to be in the public domain when it comes to your relationship? Share those voice notes, 063-408-8863. We are talking about infidelity online, as well as infidelity in general, and how you employ your love language to ensure communication. We'll continue in just a moment.
Join the bank that's best for your loan. Choose up to 200 Rand cashback monthly with a personal loan. Apply for a personal loan and a savvy account today. Nedbank, see money differently.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. Yes, you can tell how excited I am to finally connect with our performers this morning. Multi-instrumental band and a trio of brothers, literal and figurative. Vanna Avon are joining us on the Expresso stage, having released their new single, Uitgeword. Let's give these lovely gentlemen a feel-good welcome. I know we're not a stadium full of people. Okay, there's only like 6 of us, guys. Okay, but we try really hard, man. We've got Paul, we've got Tennis, we've got Rulof. 2 of them are Van Mavers, one's an Evident. I now understand how the name kind of came.
There we go.
Exactly.
There we
I
go.
want to ask you that question. Rulof, I'm going to connect with you.
Yes.
There is something quite Belvedere about your rock and roll, man. There is a really beautiful sound here. There is a kind of Afrikaans rock that just speaks volumes about that culture. How would you describe yourselves before we start painting you with labels?
Ooh, that's a tough one. But no, I think we really like to play around with harmonies and sounds with regards to that. So, but we've all grew up with MK 89 times, so the rock part, the Belville sound makes full sense. But yeah, we just love making music that's full of life and yeah, just to enjoy ourselves. That's the main thing.
Uitgeword. Are you guys? Has it arrived? Are you there yet? Do you ever, like me, it'll never come?
Well,
talk us through this song, because clearly there's a lot of love, there's a lot of energy in this one, man.
A lot of energy, yes. So I wrote the song when I turned 30. I was like, okay, you've passed your 20s now. You're getting a bit on the old side now, still single, running around. So yeah, so it's the whole idea of thinking back about your youth, what you miss about it, how you got to where you are. And the thing is, the 3 of us have been playing together now for about 6 years now. We've got a dad of 2 here, or nearly 2 at the moment.
Man.
With it, so yeah, so the changes we've been through and everything that we've experienced together is amazing. So yeah.
I hope you never grow up. I hope this journey continues and you keep creating this kind of crazy energy. We're going to connect with more of the band members in just a moment, but we want you guys at home to fully experience what these lads are all about. And you can start asking yourself those big questions. Maybe you're there, maybe you're not there yet, but you can still dance like a kid right now. Yeah, they are with Uitgeword. Enjoy.
Die laaste tyd is als net te gejaag. Ek wens ek kon dit stop en jou kom al. Maar ons is nie meer net kinders nie. Is glad nie soos ek beplan het nie. Waar's my woorde, waar's my drome, waar's my tyd? Soos die laaste dag my inslip, begin ek al hoe meer terugdink. Neem my terug na hande van rooi wyn, vroegentiere sonder hoofdpyn, van my bekostig maar uit my maag te kan lag, van minder as niks kort, hoe het ons so oud geword? So kom vat my hand, gee dit nog 'n kans. Vergeet van al die mense, kom ons staan. Dalk hierdie tyd ons ingehaal, maar ek sweer ek voel nog steeds normaal. Weet ons sou ook hieruit kan kom, maar soos van tyd tot tyd weer sal agterkom. Hoe die laaste dag ons inslip. Neem my terug na hande van rooi wyn, vroegentiere sonder hoofdpyn, van my bekostig maar uit my maag te kan lag, van minder as niks kort, hoe het ons so oud geword? Ek weet ons sal dit weer kon herleef, as selfs net wil ophou aan beweeg. Ek sweer als nog tyd, 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 weer dat ons dit weer kon herleef, as selfs net wil ophou aan beweeg. Ek sweer als nog tyd, ek sweer als nog tyd, maar voor ek by kon kry is ons almal weer agteruit. Neem my terug na hande van rooi wyn, vroegentiere sonder hoofdpyn,
you took some poor kid who's still out there in Bloem trying to find his name after the weekend. He's like, where did I leave it? Where did I leave it? You took them right back there. We love it. Download to download to download. Make that the soundtrack for your life. They are not going anywhere. That was amazing, boys. Yo, absolutely beautiful. More on the way.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Woo,
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. Does anyone want to take this one? I don't think.
Okay. I'll start off.
Okay, great. Yes.
Firstly, welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show.
Welcome.
Expresso on S3. It's lovely to have you. Some interesting conversations happening this morning.
Tough ones, man.
Right now, though, do you know why your last relationship ended? That's the question.
Are you really asking me?
Well, yeah, but I mean, honestly, while everything was going great, deal breakers were on the table, and the next thing you know, you're single again. And we put an anonymous request out to our viewers, you guys out there, and asked you to share some of your breakup stories with us, and what some of the deal breakers were that ended your relationship. So do we want to get into it before we get to some viewer comments? No? This is a heavy one.
It is a heavy one because it takes you back there. This redefined my life, man. So, infidelity. My previous and I thought that was the relationship. She ended up having a relationship with someone else that she was working under for the longest time, and confirmed all of this craziness that was going in my head, and it shattered me. I don't think I was in a relationship for 3 years after that, because I was like, not a chance. But my fundamental is loyalty. That's my vibe. So. It was tough, bro. It was tough.
Family meddling was the last one. What I mean by that is that
that's complicated.
I remember her auntie had a reservation about me, and her auntie was so manipulative in that particular scenario that she became so indoctrinated. And I remember the words. The words was, "I can't protect you anymore." And that was the breaker for me. I was like, what do you mean? If you know who I am, but what I'm about, and somebody who's peering into a relationship is completely tarnishing the whole idea of us, then we got to break it. You know, let me save you trouble, and let's break it off.
For sure. No, you
know.
So,
I mean, something that's big family meddling. And you?
Yeah, mine was back in 2004 was my last breakup, and that's when I met my wife in Thailand. So I went, to travel modeling, and I had a girlfriend in South Africa, and it was a serious relationship, and it was probably one of the hardest things that I had to go through. But when I met my wife, I simply knew that she was the one, so I had to make that call and say, listen. Yeah, unfortunately,
Like a
I have
movie.
met somebody else, and yeah, it was devastating, obviously, and it really wasn't easy. But again, you know, now it's almost 20 years later that I've been with my wife, and we're 15 years married now. So yeah, you know, one very difficult decision led to. So far, a lifetime.
At least you
of
made the
happiness.
decision, dude. And I think, knowing you, I don't think you would have been able to play it in a different way.
No, it wasn't easy. It wasn't fun.
But look at that infidelity, family, choice. There's so many varieties of breakups, and we asked you with anonymity to share yours. So we have a few confessions. Shall we get into this?
Let's go for it.
Let's do it. Safe place, safe place. Ex-boyfriend of 5 years went overseas for work, cheated and married the side chick a few months later. Hashtag trust broken.
Shattered.
That's a tough one, sorry.
That is tough. All right, let's see what else we have. She was unrepentantly rude to waiters on multiple occasions.
That's a red flag.
That's a red
down with
flag.
that, eh? It's a very big thing for me. This baseline respect for people that get treated like dirt a lot of the time, for me, is a big thing. Wow, I'm glad you said that. Yeah.
Nice.
Phenomenal. Okay, next one, because while being with me, his GF, he was, as with multiple men, living a double life, brah. Sad face.
Yeah, when you add the bra at the end.
You know, it's been serious.
And bra.
Okay, so we have another one here. Let's see. She was a very bad kisser. Oh, man.
Oh, that's why we had to keep these anonymous.
Yeah.
That's in the
Crying
feels.
face, don't forget that.
Oh, shame.
That's bad for everybody, though.
Goodness, another one that's come through. Check this one. All right. Oof.
I felt lonely all the time. After 20 years of marriage, we hardly even spoke. Just hello and goodbye.
Oh, shame, man.
20 years
Quiet
of marriage,
quitting,
man.
hey? Quiet quitting, pulling yourself back.
But I mean, you got to wonder in a situation like that.
Yeah.
I mean, where did it go skew? And was it the conversation side? You know,
Or the lack of, the lack of.
Some people stay for the kids and forget about themselves and the relationship, which is a very, very scary thing as well. So all the best to you. Now, we'd been in a long-term relationship and they still couldn't tell their friends and family we were together. Ladies and gentlemen, red flag again. Why are they hiding you? Who are they trying to hide you from? That's the question.
That is the question. And after a long-term relationship, I mean, come on.
Yeah, look, first of all, I wouldn't put all of that on you. That sort of thing speaks to a family dynamic and lots of baggage. So I wouldn't put that all on your own shoulders, but definitely, as Carl said, red flag.
Okay, we have another one here. Besides being possessive, I found out he was using drugs. And I'm glad I got out in time. Yeah, well, I just hope that he got the help that he needed as well.
Yeah.
No. Sure.
Yeah.
You're taking a taking a
we
moment.
We also shared, which is, you know, it's a safe place. It's your feel-good breakfast show. We want you to feel good. And it's important for us to take these relationship topics head on. We can't sugarcoat.
Do you know what I'm realizing here? So much of this is playing out in my head as we're reading out these confessions. We've all had relationships, and I suppose the advantage of having the wisdom when you get slightly more progressed in life is that you can see these patterns. But it just strikes me how triggered I am by other people's stuff, by other people's baggage because of my own learned experience. And I'm thinking, how much of that does my poor wife have to deal with every time she does something small? And then I attach every little emotional anchor that I've got throughout my life. Have some more bags. Some carry on. Add a little bit of that there when you make my breakfast in the morning. But it's a tough thing. Check your own baggage at the door, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, relationships, we know it is dynamic. It's versatile. It's so many different versions of
It's like corduroy pants, bro.
It's like corduroy pants and boots, bro. That is it. Now, if you want to confess/express yourself, head on over to our social media pages and let us know what you want us to talk about next. Like Graham said, this is a safe space. So let's open that conversation and put it on that table.
Well, I mean, hold on to your coffee for a second, okay? Because, I mean, Expresso just became Confesso. We might have to change the show.
I don't have a coffee, though. I don't have one.
Because it is time to spill the beans.
Yay!
It's time to spill the beans.
All right, so to give us the strength to be brutally honest this morning, I've made us some Jacob's capsule coffee.
Oh, thank you.
Lungo Intenso.
Lucian.
Thank you very much, Lucian.
Oh, are there any confessions you'd like to make while you're
Yeah,
here?
while you're standing here.
Hey? Oh, he's not carrying a microphone.
Shame.
Oh, wow.
Hashtag no mic, but all the tea.
Netty fingers. So I mentioned it's the lungo, now the lungo tenso. Now, like Raul taught us as well, because he seems to be the little coffee connoisseur.
Oh, yeah.
He loves it.
It means long in Italian. So this is basically a longer version of the espresso, or also known as here in our vibe, the Expresso. But the Jacobs capsule, I mean, it has been especially developed for a larger cup of coffee, and I do like a big cup of coffee, so you'll still get that power, that flavor, and that aroma.
I like to refer to my coffee as powerful.
Really?
I like that, yeah, because that's how I like to feel when I drink my power. I want a powerful, what kind of coffee would you like? A powerful one.
Powerful one.
That's
Absolutely love it. Okay, so let's create the safe space and let's follow through. Here is today's question, and we want this, please. Unfiltered truth, please. So do you think couples have to share their cell phone passwords with each other? And if so, why? We've been skirting around this. I think it's a personal choice. I get that, okay? And it's not your partner's choice.
Yeah.
Okay, it's your choice.
Yeah.
Do you think this is... I'm struggling to cross a verge here.
Yes.
Okay, can you take me across this verge? Is it in any way all right to share your passwords with anyone else?
Well, if you have privileged information from, let's just say, from work or anything like that, you know, I feel like there are nuances here that are at play. But if you have nothing to hide, then what is your partner going to do with the password? Like, are they going to hack into your phone and say, ooh,
Yeah,
let me
send
check your
emails
DMs?
on your behalf.
So let your partner have the password, because, I mean, what happens if there's something that urgent that happens? What happens if you're in an accident, etc.? They're going to need the password to access certain information, etc. So if you have nothing to hide, then what is the problem with sharing a password?
Absolutely.
I'm just asking for a friend.
Can
you pass me my coffee, man?
You're sitting so comfortably.
I just don't want to be all rude and lean across.
Okay, this is very good, though.
Yeah, like I do agree with Carl.
Yeah?
You know, if you are in that committed relationship and you clearly love each other, then, you know, what's the problem? Share that password. I mean, what exactly, like Carl said, what's going to happen? You know, I mean, if you and your partner's together, you know her, she knows you, whatever the case may be. And, you know, you don't want to have a situation where you hand, or your partner takes your phone and you all of a sudden get nervous.
Yeah.
Because obviously then there is something...
Well, there's a reason why there's like a million memes about that online right now.
Exactly.
Because it is, I think, a relationship pressure point for
I share
everybody.
Yeah. No, there's...
Well, okay, there's a lot to be said. Like, let's just say you're part of a WhatsApp group. Okay.
Yes.
Here's the thing. I think Graham and I chatted about this very briefly earlier, Ewan. It's like, if you're part of a WhatsApp group, and some of the people, they send you some stuff, man. And WhatsApp gives you an auto-download. I'm just saying this out, and sometimes the auto-download comes through, and let's just say the partner has the password, and then the gallery gets opened up, and then they swipe on a picture that they wanted to get from your phone, and then that thing pops up that you got from a WhatsApp group, and then you have to explain. I think that's what people are trying to avoid. But if you have a partner that's actually... can have a conversation and a laugh about it. You know what I mean?
You must be able to swim with the big people. If you want to do that, like my whole thing is with Linz, is with those particular all guys, all kind of one particular clique, people feel they have a bit of license. You can't unsee some of that stuff. So all I'm saying is you want to look, you can look bad. So that's the reason why I'm quite selective about the amount of times I open and look at that sort of stuff, because that is my choice. But I think it does speak to... It speaks volumes about where you are, not where your partner is. But if it's driven by your partner's desperation to own you and need that, then maybe it's an issue. But share and share alike, man.
Yeah.
Lots of sharing today.
Lots of sharing, indeed. Now, luckily, we aren't the only ones revealing ourselves today, because we put the question out to you as well. So let's quickly see what everyone else had to say. So we have Aisha saying yes/no. I think sharing,
it's not so easy, is it?
I think sharing your password is a total different level of intimacy. An open phone policy shows that there is trust. Yes, like Carl said as well. It can also show a disadvantage to the trust in the relationship, meaning that you don't trust each other enough.
Well, wait, there's more.
There's more.
Odelia, I don't think it's necessary. My husband knows all of my passwords, but I didn't know his until recently when my phone got stolen. Then I had to use his phone and learn his password. But I think it's good to know each other's passwords for, as I mentioned earlier, emergencies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. We have Derelda also coming through. Yes, we don't hide anything from each other. Honesty is the best policy. There we go. I love it. We have one more for you as well. Robin says, honestly, the answer can go both ways. But in my opinion, yes. My boyfriend has games on his phone that I want to play to beat his high score. Crying, laughy face, 4 times over. But on a more serious note, it isn't that serious. If I needed to use his phone and asked him to unlock it, he would. There we go. If he didn't, I'd have reason to be concerned.
Can I speak to something here? Because I've been trying to distill why I used to be, after that particular relationship, really possessive, because it just felt like it was my space. You know, when someone in a relationship with you is entering into that infidelity space, it's like you're being walked all over. And then it hit me. She's not my possession. She can go and do whatever she wants to do. That's her life, her ownership, her responsibility. And once I could step away, it became less of a thing. I don't need to have that validated or not, because I understand how I feel when I'm with my wife and vice versa. And I mean, it's not like that all the time. A relationship is a constant growing, living thing, but there might be something in that. You don't own your partner, you don't own their phone, you don't own their information. No. It's a choice for you guys to meet in the middle, and that has to be a conscious choice.
At the end of the day, you know, my views stand. You should be able to have an open book policy. Or open phone policy, in this case, with regards to your relationship.
Are you going to tell Adrian about the corduroy pants today?
You know what? I think that's going to be all over, like, it's actually going to be in your DMs, If you're ready to spill the beans, then you might be our next lucky winner. Show that. Okay, do you think couples have to share their cell phone passwords with each other? That's a big question. If you have a brutally honest take on this matter, then spill the beans with us on your Feel Good Breakfast Show Expresso, our Facebook page, our Twitter page, our Instagram pages, using the hashtag #WithJacobs, and you could stand a chance to win an incredible Jacobs coffee hamper plus 2,000 Rand in cash.
Wow.
And if you want T's and C's, you can visit your favorite website, expressoshow.com. Good luck and share passwords.
Good luck.
I'm super comfortable. I don't know what you guys are going on about.
Sexy.
Making a cappuccino with thick, creamy froth is now impressively easy.
It's my Feel Good Breakfast Show.
It is your Feel Good Breakfast Show Expresso here in S3, and joining us on the stage this morning is multi-instrumental band and trio Van der Affen. And I can tell you, there are just talented people here. Rudolf is here, Tennis is here, but Paul, the drummer at the back, I needed to chat to you, Paul, because I feel like you need your time to chat about this amazing group. It's important, right?
Yes.
How does it feel to be the most talented but then be at the back?
Yeah, it's like someone told me once, it's like driving a car, but not being really talented, but it's like driving a car and like still have everything, together.
Yes.
But you in control at the back, you know, and you control, just going.
This is fantastic. I'm glad that you said that, though. You have to defend the people in the back. That's why I chatted to you, Paul. But with regard to this particular group over here, working with these two gentlemen, creating music that's so cool. Also, I mean, can you really call it rock music in Afrikaans? Is it not clip music? I just wanted to ask for a friend.
Yes, so.
Yeah.
I don't think the mense gaan 'n bietjie die mekaar raak, you know, so it's going to be like clip music, clip verf, you know.
And then next thing you know, clip pieces, and it's too early in the morning for that. I got you. But Paul, Slaap Jy Al is the single that you're about to do. Like, what is significant about this particular song?
It's quite significant, and it's amazing that you guys are talking about toxic relationships this morning, because it's actually intertwined, and it's about a couple that goes to sleep, and like, you know, they haven't chatted about their problems, and then they're laying there and like, Slaap Jy Al, are you asleep? Can I chat to you? But like, it's like, ek weet nie, kan ek met jou chat? I don't know if I can, because like, you know, there's things going on, but like, so that's
very deep.
Yeah, it's quite a deep song, but it's a very rock and roll. There's now a clip.
Is it a clip song? I knew it, clip music. That's what we're looking for in your Feel Good Breakfast show. But Paul, thank you so much. Have a seat there at the back. I don't know why you're at the back. They should put the drum set in the front. Let's change the way bands operate, especially not rock music and clip music. But this is a song that really speaks to what we've been chatting about, relationships, toxic relationships. Van der Afene here for you. Slaap Jy Al. I think you should skrik wakker for this one.
Sê my, raak ek mal? Of raak jy stiller by die dag? Die laaste jaar het ons ingesluk, maar ek sweer ek mis jou lag. So voordat ek begin te vergiet, is daar iets wat ek moet weet. Slaap jy al, of kan ek vra? Is jy nog daar? Is jy nog daar? Sê my, raak ek mal? Draag jou woorde ook al op? Ek sweer ek wou jou alles gee, maar ek weet eens opgegeven. So, voordat ek begin is jy nog daar. Van die laaste dag, maar ek hoor hoe naby jy sit, hoe naby jy sit, om jou te verloor.
Oh!
Jacobs 3-in-1, the perfect combination of coffee, milk, and sugar. Jacobs, the magic aroma.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, you beauties. We've got 1 hour left to savor with you. This has been a great show. It's a safe place today. Hey?
Yeah, very, very safe. We've been confessing, but more importantly, we've been traversing so many great relationship dynamics on the show, so make sure you stick around for that. But, of course, for now, we've got some business to attend to.
We've got the day's major talking points to get through. We've spoken enough about sports, so let's talk about those news headlines and then get you prepped for the weather and the traffic before we send you off to work.
Thank you so much, gents. For the last time, let's quickly get into your news headlines, starting off with your national news. In a bid to deal with the current energy crisis in South Africa, Dr. Hlanganani Nyembe, a researcher at Nelson Mandela University, has come up with an invention that will give power plants which generate electricity a longer lifespan through the replacement of turbine rotors. Nyembe says turbine rotors are costly to replace and can require that the power stations be turned off when they are being replaced. He said, and I quote, "We use small samples extracted from the power plants to find ways of assessing the remaining lifespan using a microscope." Then 4 of the 5 accused who applied for bail in the Thabo Bester escape case have been refused bail in the Bloemfontein Magistrates Court. The 5th accused, Nastasia Janssen, was granted bail of 10,000 rand. Janssen, Senohe Matsuara, Teboho Lepolo, Buti Masukela, and Tieho Makotsa are on trial together with the convicted criminal Thabo Bester, his girlfriend Nandipa Magudumana, and Magudumana's father Zolile Sekeleni on various charges. Now, these include arson, desecration, defeating the ends of justice, fraud, and that they helped Bester escape from Mangaung prison in May last year. Now, the case will resume on the 20th of June. Then making international news headlines this morning, Nigeria's new president, Bola Tinubu, pledged during his inauguration ceremony that the country's economy will grow by at least 6% annually, that he will remove all obstacles in investment and to new job opportunities that will be created as well. Tinubu was inaugurated in the capital Abuja yesterday. He also announced that fuel subsidy on petrol products would be scrapped. The inauguration ceremony was attended by several heads of state, including President Cyril Ramaphosa. And a 15-year-old girl accused of having started a fire at a school dormitory in Guyana, South America last week was charged with 19 murders yesterday. 18 mostly indigenous girls and a 5-year-old boy perished in the building in the central city of Mahdia. The girl started the fire after her phone was confiscated, police said. She's being held in Guyana's juvenile detention center. Some 30 children were hospitalized and 2 girls in critical condition were flown to New York on Saturday for further medical attention. And we finish off with this news. A teacher from Limpopo says his passion for education and a desire to uplift learners in rural areas prompted him to write a mathematics book. Vangwele Kuba, 36, from Toyando, has published a grade 9 mathematics book in amplified terms to facilitate a better understanding. Now, the book Skyrocket Mathematics is recognized by the Department of Education. Now, Kuba says he not only wishes the learners to pass the subject, but also to know and apply it extensively. He said, and I quote, "Skyrocket Mathematics explains math in the best simple way. It can be used by you and your child at home, but provided you understand English, whether you didn't pass maths in primary school or high school, with this book, you can." So this is to promote a black child from the mentally that maths is very difficult. So I wish maths to be up there, most especially for black people. And I love this, the fact that this book is most certainly going to get you to crunch those numbers successfully. That's your news headlines on your Feel Good Breakfast Show this morning.
Thank you so much, Ewan. Let's start our traffic report in the Free State. And you can see from the visuals that on the N6, 2 trucks have collided between Smithfield and Reddersburg. Both have caught on fire. You can see that playing out. The road has been closed until further notice. Please, you have to use an alternative route this morning. Moving to Durban, the road is still being closed on the N2 North. That's due to protesting between the M7 highway and the Spaghetti Junction. You can see there the cleanup has begun, but do please use an alternative route until further notice. Lots of work still to be done there. Then moving up north to Centurion. In Johannesburg, there's been a multi-vehicle accident on the N1 northbound. That's after the Samrand Avenue off-ramp, the right lane now closed. Please approach carefully. There's going to be massive congestion and delays. However you do it, get to work safely. Let's get into the weather. Well, once again, some weather warnings for you to take on board. The South African Weather Service has issued warnings for severe thunderstorms in some provinces. So let's start with a yellow level 2 warning for severe thunderstorms, leading to hail and strong damaging winds. And that's expected over the extreme eastern parts of the Northern Cape, as well as the western and southern parts of the Free State. Then a yellow level 2 warning has also been issued for disruptive rain, leading to localized flooding of susceptible settlements, roads and low-lying areas, especially bridges, and that's expected over the northern and central interior of the Eastern Cape, including the coastline. Then moreover, there's a third yellow level 2 warning for damaging waves, leading to difficulty in navigation at sea. That's between, as it was yesterday, Plettenberg Bay and Port Alfred. Then meanwhile, the dams in and around Cape Town, part of the Western Cape water supply system, have now shown a slight rise in levels. That's due to the good rain over the past week. So some good news to temper the bad. But that's where we leave our weather news. Let's get into some of your weather views. And massive thank you as well. Some brilliant contributions this morning. Let's start with May Fanamava from Umbilo in Durbs, capturing this exquisite image of the sun breaking through the pillowy clouds. Beautiful. Then we move to Kalk Bay for Aisha, who shared her captivating view of the sun lighting up the cloud-filled sky along the sea. Beautiful there. Then Jordas from Wellington, one of our favorite parts of the world, shared her magnificent image of the clouds swiftly cascading across the morning sky. gorgeous. And then lastly, Zia shared her morning view of the golden sun lighting up the skies of Westville. Beautiful composition in your pics today. Well done, team. You can send them all again tomorrow. 063-408-8863. Right, let's get into some of your temperatures for the day. Starting in Polokwane, your low 10, going up to 22. Then moving to Mbombela, 13 is where you start your day, going up to a max of 25. Moving to Pretoria, 65% chance of those thunder showers, 11 your low, going up to 22. Moving to Johannesburg, 9 your low, going up to only 20, tempered by the 65% chance of rain. Mahikeng, 79% chance of rain there, 7 your low, going up to 19. Moving to Klerksdorp, rain expected as well, 10 your low, going up to 19. Kimberley, definitely expecting the rain, your low 3, going up to only 17. Bloem, similarly, your low is 6, only going up to 14 today, and that's because of the rain on the way. Then a chance of rain and thunder showers in Richards Bay as you start your day on 19, going up to 27. Moving inland to Pietermaritzburg, 13 your low, going up to 24, with a chance of thunder showers there. Likewise in Durbs, where you're ranging between 19 and 24 degrees. Expect a bit of humidity with that inclement weather. And Tata, you're ranging between 10 and 19 today. Moving to East London, your low, 14, going up to 22. Craddock ranging between 6 and 16, with a 94% chance of thunder showers. Gqeberha, 13 your low, going up to 19, tempered by the rain there as well. Chance of rain in George, 8 your low, going up to 19. Moving to the Mother City, expect more of the rainy weather today, where your low is 10, going up to only 17. Then moving back inland to Worcester, 7 chilly start, going up to only 18 because of the rainy weather on the way. Likewise, Sutherland, ranging between 0 and only 9. And clearly the seasons are changing as we stay in the area. Uppington, 7 your low, going up to only 17. And you've got that 80% chance of rain. Hopefully more rain to fill the catchment areas, but please, once again, be super aware of those warnings that we've issued and stay safe out there.
Let's talk about relationships once again, and I'll invite Graham in for a second, but you and I were just chatting about new relationships. Now, there are certain scenarios that we're going to have to traverse here, and I think it's quite important that we tap into it. So a scenario around new relationships, you know, that honeymoon phase where it's like, hey, where you from? No, I'm from here. And do you have any siblings? Okay, cool. If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you go? And you know, it's still that sort of phase. But then you get to date number 3. And this is where I want to set this particular scene for you. Graham, have a seat. I'll make you coffee. Once again, it's a good lungo, okay? Because it's not going to be a lungo story, trust me. So let's set the scene. Let's go to date number 3, right? We've had first date, we had second date, we're on third date.
So you're keen?
Right?
You're there, you're present and you're ready, okay.
Conversation is this.
Right.
Hey, do you want to go to a restaurant? Okay.
Hey.
Fancy restaurant. Ooh. You know that the fancy restaurant's a bit out of your budget. You say nothing, you accept the date.
Ooh.
Okay. Now, you get there. Bill comes after a beautiful evening, you know, someone with a harp playing in the corner there.
You had the Wagyu.
The waiter's called the maitre d'.
Yeah.
You know, that's how
ushering you to your
that's
table
correct.
personally.
You know what I'm saying? Someone has your coat.
Yeah.
They did the
That's
for
it.
you.
Have you a warm towel? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
She was.
She was. If only we just created our perfect restaurant. All right, so in that moment, knowing what your financial means are, you accepted the date. What do you do in this particular scenario? Do you, right, just accept the bill as it is? Or are you going to be bold enough and you kind of gesture to split the bill after accepting said date? Third date, fancy restaurant. Graham, I'm going to go with you first. Thoughts?
I'm getting like a mild terrified feeling like this has actually happened to me before. I have a feeling I've been in this very scenario where as a young man, you think it's almost part of the game.
Okay.
You want to wow them. And I can still remember there was a particular restaurant that I would often go to.
Okay.
It was one of the few that first kind of put it up there as the bougie type thing. And I would end up spending like 2/3 of my month's salary on one meal and then not be able to eat for the next 2 weeks. But I'd be cool because she thought I could roll like that. But when it gets real in that moment, I'm trying to think if I've actually had to ask to split the bill to go Dutch because, you know, it's a tough one, but I suppose you got to do what you got to do in that moment. How else do you play it? I don't know.
Well, it depends how much you like this person. No, I'm just kidding. Look, if you guys, if I'm on a kind of third date like this, and obviously a little bit of groundwork has been done, obviously, and you really know now, I do like this person. I think the credit card will come out and I'll figure it out later.
But
the problem with that is what's the premise that you're
It
setting
sets a
here?
precedent, yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, is this something that you're going to be able to upkeep?
Okay.
With the relationship going further. But I mean, it is one of the situations, obviously I can speak about it from my point of view, being a guy, where I feel the need to, listen, this is my treat. Even though you invited me, you know, I said yes.
But that's, or just set it up from the beginning and say, listen, that's beyond my budget.
I was going to ask
Maybe
this
we
now.
can go Dutch
On the
and
third
have
date, let's
have
be
a
honest.
fun,
Really?
have a fun time. But yeah, I don't know, man.
Like, it's a third date. You've literally just met this person. It's like, I'm sorry, I can't afford it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess honesty is the best policy at the end of the day, but still.
You can joke about it, I suppose, and test those waters and kind of like, okay, well, that'll be the only meal we're going to eat out this month.
When she
and then we
goes
can
like,
have...
what? Really?
Yeah.
Then you go like, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So how would you feel about on a third date with this person that you kind of like? I mean, would you be okay saying, I actually don't have the money to go to that fancy
That's the
restaurant.
question.
Can we pick a different restaurant? Do you, but that's
I suppose that would
this is where
speak to the
ego-
level of honesty that you've had building up to that point. Because if you've
Date number
created this
3.
premise that you're somebody else, and then on date 3 you're already unpicking that tapestry, it's a thing. So I suppose you've got to be honest about who and where you are from the beginning, so this doesn't come as like a bomb drop.
Yeah, you've got a student loan. You're doing this, you're doing that. I mean, like, maybe you should be honest with those.
I mean, on the third
But
date,
some
you're
people
still
don't like
trying
it.
to impress a little
That's
bit.
the thing. So I was going to ask this. Like, how do you drop the ego and the pride in that particular
But if
moment?
she's needing to be impressed by that, then maybe you're on the wrong path. Maybe your
it's not-
honesty is
maybe it's
what
not-
impresses her.
Look, we're speaking from our perspective, but maybe
Yeah.
it's not, you know, that she wants to be impressed.
Yes.
You know, it's
your
basically
ego,
this
yeah.
like, oh, this restaurant is very bougie and it's very expensive,
Yeah.
but it was close to my home.
Yeah.
Save the petrol, baby.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, my word.
Different realities, I suppose.
I think it's such a personal thing, though.
Well, maybe this is a catalyst for that conversation we've been having all morning with regard to relationships. Maybe it is about having open communication from the get-go and dropping the ego and the pride. And the thing is, if the person wants to leave because you're not of the financial means to go to a fancy restaurant, then they're not for you.
Yeah, that's your red flag.
There we go.
We talk about the red
Right?
flags. You've got a very clean answer right
So
there.
the thing
also-
is,
yeah.
this is the third date. You can say like, okay, cool, you've invited me, but
Yeah.
listen, I can cook. I'll make you.
I guarantee.
a proper
Fancy.
meal.
I'll make
So
you
you
better
basically cover yourself like that. There's ways, people. There's ways.
There is indeed.
If you bring the ingredients to my
head's
house.
spinning right now.
No, I think I'm hearing this and I'm enjoying this, and that's why I put you in this scenario, because I think it's that the communication thing, why not normalize the honest communication from the get-go? Because trust me, that person's not going to stick around because you can't afford a meal at a fancy restaurant. Then definitely not for you. That could be what they would call a beige flag, which is something that we still need to chat about. But that's where we are for now. Please feel free to weigh in. We love it when you chat to us. And also a little later, we've got Councillor Ash here, who will be chatting a bit more about trust and developing that trust with kids a little bit later. So make sure
Love
you stick
that.
around. It's your Feel Good Breakfast Show.
Cheers.
Now you can generously give a voice to Storytime. Visit our library of homegrown audio stories at cadbury.co.za.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
It is indeed your feel-good breakfast show, Expresso, right here on S3. Welcome to it. What a morning.
Sure.
What a morning. We've had some pretty interesting conversation, that is without a doubt. But we are shifting gears a little bit. We are focusing on relationships. But now, I mean, it's no secret that kids undergo a whirlwind of emotions as they grow up. I mean, we can see that in our lives as well with our kids. And this can affect their personality, their views on the world, the way they make friends, and how they build trust in others. But when you throw school into the mix as well, it can stir things up a little bit, for the better or for the worse. So this morning here with us, we unpacking this topic. Councillor Ashley Lawrence joins us in studio. Welcome, Ash. Lovely to have you back.
Lovely to see you guys again.
Ash, you stepped into a crazy show today. We have been processing, and I love that we're turning the lens now to our little ones, because I see this. I've got a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. The 3-year-old, I'm just going to park her right now, and we're going to deal with that when she's 16 because it's just intense. But I think part of what blows my mind is they've got the same levels of perception. So all the tools are there, they just don't have the operating system. So all of the emotion, the intensity, it's all there. And when my little man comes back from school now, and he's just started in a big school where their boys going all the way up to matric, it's a completely different environment. But they do so much to foster that trust. But when it comes to that social dynamic that's not in our control, when they move into that school environment, how do they go about forming trust and relationships when they're out of our care?
Yeah. And it's awesome that we're actually taking the topic of relationships and going back to childhood, because that is what forms. That's where it begins. It's where it begins, and it's what we're going to take moving forward. So one of the two main ways that children are going to essentially learn trust is firstly through what is modeled at home. What's happening, between the parents, how you're interacting with a child. So that's going to set our tone for how we're going to bring that into our school environment. So that's looking at attachments, and that's what we can unpack.
That's what you do, not what you say.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So they model our behavior. The second way that we see kids actually really starting to learn social skills, and this is quite interesting, is that kids learn through play. They learn how to trust one another, how to interact with one another, rules, social skills.
Disappointment,
emotional regulation through playing constructive games, fantasy games. So they're testing out everything that they've seen on TV, at home, and that is how they're going to learn, through games and through projects, teamwork.
Like download that operating system, essentially.
And function, because at the end of the day, for any young child to form a good connection with another child at school, it can be so beneficial to their journey in school. And on the other side, it can also make it very difficult for them to try and foster these relationships. Maybe they're not linking onto another kid that they, thought that could potentially be a good friend. But there's so many different factors at play, like you said, the modeling of behavior at home and what the parents do. But now you throw them into a school, which is a completely new environment. There's so many other factors. How does that impact that forming of trust, that relationship?
It's a sudden ramp up.
Yes,
all of a sudden, they're in this strange environment.
Yeah, and then there's this whole lot of anxiety, and kids are going through, especially it's the first day of school, there's a lot of anxiety. So kids are naturally quite trusting, so they are going to look toward the other kids, the friendly faces, and then the teachers are going to play a huge role in making that environment feel safe for that child to go and explore.
Can I just say to the teachers out there that you truly are superheroes.
Magical,
in terms of how I see that you guys are dealing with the children from my own perspective as well. Hats off. Hats off.
Completely.
You guys are amazing.
And so much that speaks to the resources that those teachers have to fulfill that role. And very often I think there is this added pressure of we hand you over. Our kids are yours now for the next 6 hours, but it's a relationship between the teacher and the parent, and I get that, but that comes with quite a privileged schooling system. I make no bones about that. I understand the privilege that's attached to that. Why is it so important that they have these autonomous relationships and trust with other people that aren't maybe you as the parent? Why do they need their own lives, essentially?
Well, unless you want your kids to be living with you for the rest of their lives, this is going to be quite an important thing, because not only do our relationships and our trusting relationships with others obviously influence our social environment, how we're going to show up in the world, but it also influences how we feel about ourselves and how we trust ourselves, which is quite interesting. So if I'm continually, excuse me, being betrayed, you know, I've had negative experiences, I've been bullied, I'm going to internalize that, and it's really going to affect my self-esteem growing up. And, you know, everything we do is social. Everything we do is social, so that can really hinder a child's development.
Absolutely. I want to ask this because if I take a look at, you know, a grown-up in their space and, you know, myself as well, when it comes to trust and relationships, I mean, I've got a handful of very small, close friends, Graham being one of them, that I trust. But with kids, throwing them into a scenario like school, do they trust easier than us adults? And what can that potentially lead to?
Yes. So kids, they do trust more naturally, simply because, well, there's quite a few factors.
They haven't been burned.
They haven't been burned.
Baggage,
They haven't been burned. So there's not these past experiences that they're drawing on continuously. You know, they're present. They're playing, you know, they're taking the moment to moment. You know, they're not necessarily thinking of motives, of, you know, social dynamics. Kids very much take...
agenda.
There's no agenda, and kids very much take things on face value. So if you're being nice to me now, I'm going to trust you. I'm not going to maybe think about yesterday or the following day. And also, kids don't have the expectations that we have of, you know, each other as adults.
And as if they get hurt in those scenarios, I mean, this is the learning curve. This is how they learn how to deal with those situations, with those scenarios where they thought they could trust someone, but they couldn't. And then it's really, I think, up to the parents to help facilitate so that it become a positive learning experience.
Well, but this is the bottom line, and something I'm learning through my own personal experience of these last few crazy years. It's not the trauma necessarily that leaves the mark. It's your lack of processing of the trauma. Trauma is there all the time. It's kind of the lived experience. But so many of us, if we track back through our own childhood, that developmental phase, those markers, that anchor, that emotional point that we keep getting pulled back to stemmed from someone not explaining or allowing us to process that. So maybe there's something in that to think of your kids as little grown-ups that still need to work through and process, but they just don't have the tools to do that. That's where you step in. But make no mistake, they're still feeling it as intensely. More about how we can develop trust within our children and the teenage years in just a moment. Oh, goodness.
It's the moment you've all been waiting for. We're about to give you a certain winner of a certain Samsung. Stand by. So we've had thousands of entries for this, and we've had so many people coming through and saying, hey, I want to be a part of the competition. There will be a winner walking away with their very own Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus to capture and cherish their own epic moments. Of course, they're going to share the epic too. And of course, we have one of our finalists on the line. In the next couple of seconds, you'll see one of the finalists, Poncho Flora Mafokeng. So Poncho had a very, very lovely submission. Let me just read you the first finalist's submission. On our first trip, only me and my mother last year, April, I didn't have a phone. I was using a tablet for social media, and it didn't have great camera quality. We couldn't capture those great moments we shared. Hashtag share the epic, hashtag Samsung Galaxy S23. Now, Poncho, we also asked you to come and join us today as one of the finalists, which is very, very important. And we also asked a little bit of a sort of a road trip picture as well, the same trip with us. Take a picture, send it afterwards. She deleted those particular things by mistake, which is very, very sad. But on video call is Poncho. Poncho, welcome to your Feel Good Breakfast Show. How does it feel? How does it feel to be a finalist? Are you happy to be a finalist?
Yes, I'm so happy. I don't know what to do.
I love how happy you are. So, you have this happiness like you've won already. You're only a finalist at the moment, Poncho. Thank you for your submission. It's wonderful. All right. Before you shed a tear, I'd like to tell you something, all right? You and the other two finalists that are on the line at the moment, all right? Poncho, there are no other finalists. You've just won a Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus!
Come on!
I love my job. Oh, I really do. Sorry, Poncho, I had to play a little bit of a game there, I'm sorry. It was all the build-up. I wanted to share the epic moment with you, and that's what happened. So tell me, Poncho, right, tears in your eyes, and yeah, you know, you're almost bringing, you know, some to mind. What is your favorite feature of the Galaxy S23 Plus?
Okay, it's USB.
Take a breath. Take a breath. It's all good. Whew. There we go.
Okay, it's past USB power. It's past USB power because it will have my. Okay.
I feel like you also need a quick charge like the Samsung Galaxy S23 at the moment before you get ready for this. But it's all yours, Poncho. I'm going to let you take a breath and say, you know, what epic moment can you not wait to share with your mom? In fact, this moment right here is a very good moment to share, but what's the one that you're looking forward to sharing the most?
Okay, next year I will be graduating. I will be graduating for my degree accountant.
What?
So I want to take this special moment with my mother to see me when I'm graduating, when I'm using my Samsung S23 Plus.
You graduated. What did you study, Poncho?
I'm studying accountant.
Oh, my word.
Degree. Yes.
Wow. Wow. Okay. I'm going to give you a moment. In fact, I'm going to give you a whole bunch of moments now to take your breath and just relax because you've shared the epic with us. Poncho, we hope you plan another trip so you can capture all those precious moments with the people you love, including your mom. And please don't forget, when you do post those moments, including the one of your graduation, which I'm excited to see, hashtag share the epic is what you need to tag. And then Samsung, they've also just confirmed that we have another giveaway coming up very, very soon. So if you want to be a part of that, just like Poncho was, tune in tomorrow to find out how to enter, and maybe you too could be a finalist that is actually the winner.
Ready? Wow. Mia, can you send me that? Sure. Can you send me that? Hey, can you send me that? Sure.
Make every training day epic. Buy the Galaxy S23 series at the Galaxy Watch 5 or Watch 5 Pro and get free Galaxy Buds 2 Pro valued at $3,999. T's and C's apply.
Stand your best chance of beating colds and flu this winter and being one of 2 winners of 5,000 rands each with Corenza Paris-C. To find out how the triple effect of Corenza Paris-C makes it an essential on your shopping list this autumn and how you can win 5,000 rands in cash, catch Expresso from the 15th to the 18th of May and again the 22nd to the 25th of May and manage cold and flu symptoms this winter. Simply reply to the competition posts on the Expresso social media pages using hashtag Corenza Paris-C and hashtag Beat Winter Flu. T's and C's apply.
Catch Expresso this May as we highlight the importance of feminine hygiene, proudly brought to you by GynaGuard, who are also offering 10 Expresso viewers a chance to win their own hamper full of a comprehensive range of GynaGuard feminine hygiene products to the value of 1,000 Rand. Simply reply to the competition post on Expresso's Facebook, Instagram and Twitter pages using hashtag GynaGuard and hashtag #FreeToJustBe. That's this May from the 1st to the 31st right here on Expresso. T's and C's can be found on expressoshow.com.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to Feel Good Breakfast Show. Expresso here on S3, and a very, very important saga to touch on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Now, the saga of the tragic Enyobeni Tavern disaster continues as the two owners step back into court to plead their case as the parents of the 21 deceased teenagers seek justice, and some teens being as young as 13 years old. To discuss recent developments, we are joined by journalist Duba Siboliso. Duba, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Kyle.
No, thank you so much for really helping us with this particular case. It's been one that's had massive public interest, but more importantly, there's been so many question marks, because in the beginning, we were fed as the media that this was an accident, suffocation, gas tanks. A lot of those things were mentioned. But now we are leaning toward the fact that these kids could have been poisoned as another option. And that seems to be the one that seems to be taking most of the premise at the moment. So tell me something about the debacle at the moment. You know, where are we sitting with regard to a suffocation case for these teenagers having passed away or them being poisoned? Where are we with understanding that?
Okay, first of all, Kyle, let's look at this. The case has been dragging for a while now.
It has.
You know, I mean, next month, it's the 26th of June.
Yeah.
Ever since the tragic happened. But one thing that we have to mention is that there were, the reports or alleged reports that the establishment was selling, fake alcohol brands, you know, and that on its own,
Yeah.
it is the duty of the Eastern Cape Gambling
Yes.
Board to make sure that such incidents do not happen,
Yeah.
you know, in that province. But one thing that we have to mention is the fact that there are loopholes, in these cases. The owners, they do not want to account. There are witnesses that are coming forward. Even though the witnesses are coming forward, I still feel that maybe they might be scared to come out and say more stuff about the owners. Because remember, in that area in Scenery Park, the owners are well known there, and most of the people are friends with the owners.
Yes.
But one thing that sparked a lot of debate is when the owner of the establishment, Siakangela and Devu, posted a screenshot on Twitter with the caption that this stupid case. But you cannot, you cannot post such things, where people are
Yes.
still debating about it. More people still want answer around this case. But the case has been dragging. A lot of witnesses are expected to
Yeah.
come forward in this case because no one is willing to account for.
So evidence-wise, what do they have at the moment to support this?
The first report said the children were poisoned, but another report that came, the second report, said the children were suffocated. But the parents of those children, they are of the belief that those children, maybe they must have drank these fake brand alcohol
Okay.
that are being allegedly sold on that establishment. And I had an opportunity to speak on one of the children, but he doesn't want to come out. She said to me, there were a lot of people, during that event.
Yes.
As much as there were a lot of people in that event, yes, there was a suffocation, but no one knows what happens because she said when they woke up, when they look at things, all the children were lying down and some of them were confirmed dead during that period, And also some of the information that comes out is that the owner, the manager, Siakangela, was also there when the incident took place.
All right.
And then he's well aware of the circulating post about the pens down event that was about to happen in his establishment. But for now, no one wants to come out and say what is the cause because the report that say the children died because of suffocation, the parents are not buying it.
So let's look at the fact that this owner now is saying that there was a witch hunt. There was a lot of people wanted to tarnish the reputation of the tavern for their personal gain, and this is all being directed in a certain way. So essentially the owner's saying that it was an accident, but people are making it more incriminating than it should actually be. What are your thoughts on that particular thing, especially after that, I think, very, very poor bit of, sort of initiative with regard to social media and posting this case, So what are your thoughts on that?
Look, when an accused is accused of something, he or she will never come out and say that I am guilty or on the alleged reports. But in this case, one thing I find is that the two owners, the Siakangela and his wife, there's some sort of arrogance to run this case, because for the fact that you are saying that you are not going to apologize and there are people who are going to tarnish your name, I think that's, for me, it doesn't make any sense, because you see the children died, you have to take accountability. At the same time, you have to abide the law. Now, let's look at this thing. He tried to open another establishment while the case was ongoing. He did? So, yes, he did. Yes, he did. As much as he might not confirm those reports, there are people who saw him busy with another establishment after the incident has happened. Remember, I said to you earlier in this conversation, he posted a picture and said, this stupid case, while people are still debating about it. So right now, as it stands, Kyle, the case is going to drag and more witnesses are going to come about the owners. Remember, one of the witnesses during the case course, he said, the guy was flirting with me. We were busy on the line. I did not notice that actually this guy is the manager or the owner of the establishment. I only saw him during the news when he was interviewed that actually the guy whom I was communicating to earlier, on that day, is actually the owner, Siakangela Ndevu. So I think for the owners, not want to take, to take the responsibility for their sins, I think for me, it doesn't make any sense because it's really sad for the families who are still wanting more answers. And also, there are people like the Church Councils of South Africa. They still want answers as well. And Amnesty International South Africa came in and said, we want an initial report, not these two reports that have been previously reported, because they are not saying anything, to the families who have lost these children.
Duba, there are a lot of pieces of evidence that you gave us and you alluded to as well. So many different things. There's a case coming up on the 19th of July, I believe, to make sure that this is resolved. But thank you for keeping us up to date. If you don't mind making yourself available as it progresses, we'd love to chat to you again, Duba.
Look, I don't want to say it is going to get interesting, but there's still a lot of evidence that is going to come out, and a lot of reports surrounding the shenanigans of the owner as well.
Absolutely. Well, we hope that this particular case does bring about understanding and, more importantly, answers for those affected. But Duba, thank you very much for joining us on your Feel Good Breakfast show. We'll be following that case slowly right here on S3.
Oh, thank you so much, gents. Vitally important information coming out there. Let's return to another vitally important conversation, talking about developing trust within relationships when it comes to our kids and our teens. The sense of security is so important, as trust really does lay the foundation of positive learning, social skills, vital later in life, adaptability, and, of course, the emotional development in school children. And after all, friends are a crucial part of that school experience. In fact, you're pretty much going to become an average of your friends. That seems to be how it works. And we are back with one of our favorites, Councillor Ashley Lawrence, to delve deeper into how kids can trust their friends and why it's so important. And we're going to take the step up, to teens.
Yeah, and to what extent? What does it look like?
You're knocking on this door now, aren't you?
Oh, it's close. He's growing up way too fast. So we've spoken about how kids go about building trust in relationships, but in schools as well. But now teenagers. Is it a different way? How do they approach it? Obviously, we know that there's a lot more emotion involved as well.
Stormy seas.
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually, it's definitely called the stormy stage, even in the developmental textbooks. So, so spot on.
That's so funny.
But absolutely, as we were saying earlier, smaller kids are going to learn through play, right? Teenagers, they actually start entering into social contracts with one another. So there is a lot more sort of at stake, and there's a lot more sort of moral reasoning that's going to come in.
That does speak to an agenda now. Now there is a reason you've got that's loaded.
Yes, so there's an agenda. So it's all about have you got my back? Very big is, can I trust you? Are you keeping my secrets, right? Are you showing up for me? So it becomes a lot deeper and a lot more meaningful, more than do I just like to kick the ball around with this person. This is really, really where we see friendships and relationships starting to form.
Sure. And that's so it's almost less energetic, because you especially with like all boys or all girls environments when they're younger, you kind of just let them do their thing. But this is where that balance starts to come in.
But also, I mean, that playing field is much wider now. If you take a look at things like social media that comes into play, and, you know, just like we said, the emotional stressors that they experience at school as well. But from a parent's point of view, we know, you know, for kids in general, it's difficult to chat about things, especially when you enter the teenage years, of something that is bothering you, that is not sitting well with you, to go and translate that to your parents. Is there a way that a parent can recognize, are there telltale signs that parents can go, look, but something is off with regards to my child and perhaps the relationship? Because obviously the parents will know the other person as well.
Yes, so in those situations, you know, you really do want to be aware of what's happening with your kids, and less about what they say, because as you're saying,
how they
act. Teenagers, you know, don't talk to me. I'm not going to tell my parents about anything that's going on in my life. Yeah, done. So you want to observe, you know, are they going to that friend's house often? What mood are they in when they come back from that friend? You know, do they want to spend time with that friend? So you're really going to kind of be picking up these situations. And then, yeah, I mean, as we should all with our kids, try and build that, you know, really safe space that they feel they can communicate in a non-judgmental environment, so that you can, you know, just say, look, I've maybe noticed this and this, is everything okay? But you want to remain non-judgmental. You don't want to tell them what to do, even if you're like, ooh, this is not a great friend.
It's going to trigger you in a crazy way, if it's your kid especially.
Yes.
I really do get that. I suppose there's this wonderful dynamic tension where you're constantly looking for the situation. So is my child mistrusting because of a situation, because he's been hurt, she's been through something that's broken that trust, or is she living out my truth? And there's this part of a problem, or not, maybe a challenge I need to work with in them, or is this situational? How do we kind of meet in the middle with these two goals? Because there are going to be situations that break their trust, but it also could speak to a part of their own development that needs to be focused on. So how do we then discern what the right approach is, or how to focus on it?
And I think it's, you know, as parents, you know, we want to protect our children. We want to, you know...
step in and fight.
Step them and fight and stand up for them. But the best thing that you can do is equip your child with those skills. And as sort of difficult as it may seem, speaking is not going to do it. It's going to be how you act. So how are you and your partner dealing with disagreements? How are you guys communicating with one another? Because that is going to allow that child to sort of internalize that model of, okay, you know, mom and dad can have a spat, but they forgive each other, that's all right.
And they talk about it.
Yes, they talk about it. So really paying attention to how you're modeling your behavior at home, and really just listening in a judgment.
And I do think that, you know, just bringing that particular point up, I mean, we all go about our lives and we know it. It's crazy. It's kids, it's work, it's whatever. So just, and we don't take note or take stock of how your interaction with your partner in the household affects the children. And maybe that's just the refresher that we needed this morning, to realize that your actions really do speak louder than words. And it's a tough landscape to navigate. You've got to take a step back, take a breath as a parent, and really just take a keen interest and look at your child and what they are going through.
Yep, and yourself. I have a feeling the mirror needs to come up for this one. Ash, you're amazing. Thank you so much. Hopefully this has helped you just a little bit.
So it's Travel Tuesday, and Clover has an exciting opportunity just for you. Now, get ready for an unforgettable French experience. Simply purchase any Clover product for your chance to embark on a thrilling rugby adventure. Now, I mean, just picture this. The exhilarating clash between South Africa and Scotland, soaking up the electric atmosphere in the lively stadiums of France. Even the accent might change. Who knows, you might go there and this will be you. But I mean, add a bonus, 5 lucky winners and their partners will be whisked away on a luxurious cruise to the paradise of Ibiza, departing from the port of Marseille. So get ready to bask in Mediterranean bliss and create lifelong memories. Now, listen to this, right? Ibiza is renowned for its electrifying nightlife that beckons thousands of party enthusiasts each year. Now, this sun-kissed island boasts iconic clubs like, I'm sure you've heard of Pasha, Amnesia, Privilege, Space, with the world's best DJs spin tracks that ignite the dance floor. And we're talking about the DJs that you know, like even Black Coffee is there, Kulo de Song plays there. So many other of our very, very own DJs actually work in Ibiza and really rock it. So it's not just the nightlife, though, because you can explore the island's hidden treasures, such as ancient shrines and the awe-inspiring 16th century ramparts that gracefully encircle Villa, overlooking Ibiza town. Now, you can venture into the idyllic countryside adorned with picturesque olive and citrus groves. Ibiza is something for everyone, offering a perfect blend of pulsating energy and tranquil serenity. So earlier we asked you on social media why you'd want to win this incredible Clover rugby experience and what you'd most be looking forward to. And here's a couple of things that you had to say on social media, which was wonderful. So we'll definitely get into those in the next couple of seconds. And I'm sure you have so many things to say. Of course, here it is. All right, so Karabo Mbedzi saying, the look on my partner's face will be worth 1,000 words. He's a huge rugby fan and he used to play until he got injuries. This wouldn't make an amazing Father's Day present and birthday present. Of course, it definitely will. # Clover. Thank you, Karabo, for sharing that. Janine McKenzie saying, good morning, Expresso. If I would win, I would just go crazy. The look on my family's faces, I don't think they would be able to believe me. And it would be an honor to sit there singing with the people representing our country. # Clover, # Expresso show. Always love your responses on these. Let's go to you saying # Clover way better. I can't even explain the joy that I would be feeling, the excitement, the love, the laughter, heaven on earth, that heaven could be Ibiza. So if you're sold on all of this, then get ready to enter and stand the chance to win the experience of a lifetime with Clover. Now, to enter, buy any Clover product and remember to keep your till slip handy, then dial *120 *560# and follow the prompts to enter. It's that simple. Keep watching Expresso daily to find out more, and remember, T's and C's can be found on clover.co.za. Gracias.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. It's a red flag.
No, it's
not
not
a red flag. It's a beige flag. How do we feel about a beige flag? I don't know. We're going to need someone to help us unpack. We're talking relationships. We're talking connections. We're talking about straying outside the lines when you're coloring in your love life. And Zoe is here to help us unpack. Ms. Human, how do we wrap our heads around a beige flag. At first I thought, but then when I actually saw an example of it, I'm like, oh my word, this is going to end my relationship.
So we all know the red flag, yeah? It's something that,
danger,
no.
danger,
and there's
danger.
a green flag, and then there's something in the middle. So this trend started out on TikTok with someone talking about dating apps and beige flags being something that it's boring, you know, it's someone that it's not too exciting, but it's sort of changed on TikTok right now, where it's more something that you'll look at, you'll pause for a moment, and then you'll be like, okay, it's not going to a deal breaker necessarily, but it's just something to think about.
It's the example they use there, and you do it really better, much better than anyone else. Can you give the example of like your partner who does this every time they walk into a store?
Do you guys have meat here?
And he says that every time you walk into a butchery.
No, it's a butcher. I just want to know if you got meat. That's all. No. Oh, yes. Okay, cool. I need to have meat here.
Is that your shoes? Shoes at the shoe store, huh?
No, just an illustration of that. But I get what you mean. It's something that's kind of almost mundane. It doesn't really flare up, but you do notice it. That's beige, right?
For me, it's like in a restaurant.
Yes.
Say, now, I always say, treat the waiter well, but when you're getting really bad service and nothing is being said, like, are you going to say something? That's my beige flag.
Oh, really? Okay, so have the...
Because I'm not going to be the one to say something.
Okay, I got you.
Nah.
Beige flags. I would imagine I have so many of those. I'm dad joking all over the place wherever I go.
That's a beige flag, but it's okay because you're a dad.
Because I'm a dad. I am that guy.
On a dating profile, say now, you know those hunting photos?
Yes.
Ooh,
for a girl, beige
that's
flag.
more of a red flag, I think, for some.
I don't know. Some will be like, not a fan, but
He's
you're
an alpha male, but...
I have a reddish beige flag, though.
Oh, really?
What color is that?
It's like I don't know, it's like just a weird, strange color, but it's like a beige red. People who don't put the trolley back, right?
Ooh.
So you pack in, but then the trolley goes sort of in an empty parking space.
Yeah, don't
trolley bay that's
return
like 10, 20 meters away. So here's the thing, is that beige or red? I just want to find out. Eh?
You know, I feel like sometimes it does depend, and it speaks to your own like upbringing. I think, because sometimes I'm just like, oh, it's a good spot to
Yes,
ditch,
it's got
a little bit of a ditch, you know. As long as you're not
going to run away and cause any
knock
accidents.
someone's car.
But this is crazy because this is the kind of stuff, if left unchecked, you might irritate your way out of a relationship completely because it's the little things.
It's an ick that's going to eat away at you. It might not be the biggest thing, but it might be that final
Please, now this is not a license to go and make a list of all the small irritating things that your partner does, okay? Please.
Wow.
However, if they are wetting the bed, okay, and they are comfortable talking about it, they're just showing vulnerability, okay? And you need to honor that.
I mean, are you in the bed?
Are you in the bed? No, I say this because tomorrow on the show it is in fact, International Bed Wetting Day. And Dr. Michael Mole, one of our favorites, is going to be here. Do you think he's got any irritating traits?
Not at all.
He's gorgeous, he's a doctor.
Maybe he's just way too good looking. I think
because he's gorgeous and he's a doctor.
That could be a beige flag.
It's a beige flag.
That's a beige flag.
Look at him. Look at that. Look at you.
He's beiging all over the place.
I'm in love. And then, of course, there is, we're going to do the World No Smoking Day, Graham, which is going to be, it's time, maybe.
Why did you say Graham?
I don't know, I just said his name.
That's targeted.
It's the World No Tobacco Day. So we'll be chatting through a couple of those things and maybe looking at some of the strategies to quit.
Make it practical. Cool. Make it practical tomorrow. That's what we'll do.
Yeah, and then, of course, we've got the culinary hotline. Bling, ting, ting.
What are we making tomorrow, Carl?
Curry in a hurry. That's what we're doing. So make sure you stick around for that. But of course, we are in a hurry. We need entertainment.
Yeah, and we need amazing entertainment. Please, that's not beige or red. It's all green, baby.
That's for sure. We're given the green light this morning to give us one last performance. Also, terugstaan by die trio van der Affen with the most incredible three-part harmonies that I have ever heard in my life. They are phenomenal. They just dropped a brand new single as well. Oud geword. Go download it. It is incredible. But we do have time for one more performance. Boys, thank you very much for joining us this morning. It's been an absolute pleasure. Here they are with Mona Lisa.
Lisa, don't close the door. We've been here before so many times, but I swear I can change. Mona Lisa, your smile can hide your lies, but it's written in your eyes. I've seen the way they start to graze. Well, maybe I'm to blame. Maybe you, maybe death of us. Whoa, but Lisa, many men have seen your bed, but you've made it in my head, and I just can't seem to shake you out. Mona Lisa, no, my man's not made of stone, and you've known this all along, and I never should have let my eyes dwell. Well, maybe I'm a fool. Maybe you are too. And if this is love, well, this love will be the death of us. The death of us. Don't let this love turn to war. Don't let this love turn to war. Don't let this love turn to war. Oh, don't let this. Oh, don't let this open up your door. La
Another feel-good production.